All right, you guys, welcome to the second ever episode of the Film Forest podcast, a podcast where we bring on photographers and videographers all across the industry to share their unique perspectives, experiences, and most importantly, help other people out. This is a platform that I thought would work really well because I think there's a lot of ways to grow in this craft, that sometimes the stuff online can be a little bit too complicated. Maybe it's just hard to find in general. So we're here to kind of simplify things and have fun in the process. Now, I'm going to address the elephant in the room for those who are watching, not listening. I'm not in the forest. You might be asking, Tony, where is the forest? This is Film Forest. You appear to be aboard some sort of pirate ship. I don't know what's going on. Now, I know you have a lot of questions, but we're going to answer them all very, very soon because today's guest is someone very, very special, big inspiration of mine, and he made a production company based off a pirate ship. Now, I know the questions are just multiplying by the second. So we're just going to bring him in. Big inspiration, big time videographer. People know him. People want to meet him. People want to spend time with him. So we're going to go ahead and bring him out here. Here is Sam Schwartz.
My brothers. Great to be here.
What's going on,
Not much.
man?
I just got done swabbing the deck upstairs. So
Now, this is your ship.
this is the ship.
Everything looks amazing. And we're going to get into all of the questions that I have to ask you because I bet people are having the same questions.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right.
Yes, the backdrop is from Temu.
Yeah, no, the backdrop. Listen, this right here, for those
Yeah,
who
give
are,
him the rundown. Give him the rundown.
All right. I spent maybe a month on Facebook Marketplace looking for props for this episode, and well, this is from Facebook. Wine barrel. We carried this in just before. This is like over 100 pounds, but we made it. And it also has wine in it because it like swooshes around. So this is actually like a legit wine barrel. Literally found it somehow on Facebook Marketplace, picked it up, so we have it. This chest right here, $15 chest. Boom. What can you say right here? And then, what else do I get? The backdrop and this whole rope assembly thing, custom cut by myself. Everything looks great. I think it looks great.
It looks incredible.
The chairs.
It looks incredible.
The chairs too, $20.
Yeah. And these are the comfiest things I've
told
seen.
you,
Yeah, no, you're right.
when you would
You're
sit
right.
down in
You're
them, they would be, you wouldn't want to get up.
No, I don't.
So we got a lot to talk about anyways.
Yeah.
So you're going to be here, we'll be here for a minute, bro.
I'm excited.
All right.
I'm excited.
All right, so for those who don't know, Sam is a videographer, started with cars, right? And then you kind of branched off into sort of like a production company, Blacksail Productions. And that name, where did that name sort of originate from the start?
So I've always been into old world ships, old world craftsmanship, stuff like that. I do love Pirates of the Caribbean, although the name did not originate from that because some people have asked that. I've just been into the old kind of stuff and old ships and old World War stuff. So I've always loved that stuff. So it just kind of originated from that, really.
Yeah.
I need like a cool name, you know?
Yeah.
I need something that pops. It's not, you know, the normal, you know, usual media company name.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of companies out there that are kind of just like this and then video.
Right.
It's like this, like oh.
Right. Or agency. Or,
Yeah.
It's
like 5-star video. Or something, or something like that. Totally wasn't like trying to make a agency for
A+
itself that
video.
name.
No,
Yeah.
no.
A+. Or like, you know, some stupid shit. But this is like,
I need something to pop.
yeah, and like it brought to my, that kind of, even on your Instagram, like it attracted me because you have like the whole ship, even as a logo. We have the ship chilling right here. This whole theming with the pirate ships is like something really unique, and I think clients definitely see that
For sure.
when they're like looking for clientele, like Blacksail, you know.
In the office, we got the dark wood theme. It doesn't look too pirate ship, but it's got the colors for it, you know. So we fit that vibe, and that's what I've been trying to go for.
Well, aboard the ship, not the office.
Aboard the
Character,
ship.
character,
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
character.
Aboard the ship. Aboard the ship.
Bro. Okay. So, how many years have you been in the craft from like the moment you got a camera to now? Like, how long have you been like using cameras?
So roughly like at this point, 17, 18 years from literally picking up a camera. About 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have you like jumped from camera brands, like from like, I know you're using a lot of Sonys and DJI, but like did you start on a different brand and sort of like segued to Sony and DJI?
All the way at the start?
Yes. Like
all the way at the
literally-
start. I mean, we were doing like handy cams and mini DVs. The first, I would say, legit camera I had was a Sony VX2000. I don't, you know what that is?
I don't know.
That might be before your time. Yeah, I
right
don't
over
know.
my head.
Yeah, that was the first camera I had, Sony VX2000. Basically in the skateboarding world, which is where I started, a lot of the cameras that we use, they would have a top handle. So a lot of the ones that you would pick is a VX1000, 2000, 2100, DVXs. I don't know if you're familiar with any of these, but they all had top handles with an audio, with a mic built in. So basically when you would skateboard around, you would hold the top handle, right? And you'd hold it low because you would skateboard along someone. You'd have a fisheye in the front. You'd be able to hold the camera low while being able to get audio on the front. And those are really beneficial because we didn't have all the stuff that, like, you know, Small Rig and other companies make now with all the accessories, the handles, and all that kind of stuff. So those kinds of cameras were big back in the day, but I started on the Sony VX2000. I've used VX1000s, 2100s, GH1s, GH2s, I believe they were. And yeah, just a ton of different.
I have no idea what any of those
Yeah,
cameras are.
Just like flash some images of them, you know.
Yeah.
I know what those are.
I'll make it easier, you know. Well, so you went over a little bit how you started. You saying skateboarding roots. What kind of videos did you make out of like skateboarding? Like, what were the kind of styles of like videos that you were making?
So at first we were just kind of screwing around, filming, you know, friends doing stupid shit like, you know, Jackass, CKY, Bam Margera stuff back in the day, and, you know, just filming us screwing around town. But then it evolved into making montages at skate parks, and then when things got a little bit more serious, we really started to get a crew together that were some incredible skateboarders, and we would actually put together videos that were really seen all across the US. Basically, they lived on YouTube, but they were also shown at venues. They were shown at skate shops, at events, and things like that. And for a long time, we were doing a lot of stuff in like the New York City area, and a lot of people knew who we were and what we were doing.
So in terms of like, you went over a little bit of style, but like, what was the most enjoyable aspect of doing that? Because you are a skateboarder, so was like the neat, like, were you thinking like, oh, like I could like skateboard while like recording and stuff? Like, what was the thought process behind like, you know, let me actually pick up a camera and start like messing around with this stuff?
In truth, I was pretty good at skating, but nowhere near what these other guys are doing. So basically, if like, if
the
you
middle,
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. No, like I had fun, but obviously there's always people better and whatever. And honestly, when people are doing some insane stuff on stairs, rails, and all that kind of stuff, it's exciting to record it because you're like, wow, we're not going to be able to like see this again, so we may as well document it and have it forever and make something out of it, you know. But I wasn't that great. I was pretty okay, so that's one of the main reasons I started filming. And I don't know, just like making memories with friends is one of the best things. And to be honest, like even while I'm filming people on a skateboard, it's very liberating. If you haven't skateboarded before or snowboarded or whatever, it's a very freeing and liberating feeling because you're just on your own. You can do your own thing. There's no rules, and it's awesome.
So I've skied once. And I was pretty bad at it.
It takes skiing's difficult. It takes practice.
I used to skateboard. I used to go to Green Lawn.
Yeah, bro, Huntington. Huntington.
I got I got in a collision with someone there once.
You did?
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but like I used to. So I switched to scooters because I wasn't.
Yeah, I see you later.
I switched to scooters, bro. Because I was like, I can't do the skateboard thing, bro.
No, I mean, scootering's difficult too. It's just, I don't know, it's different. It's not for me.
I mean, like, the handlebars definitely like gave me a little sense of like.
A little stability.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like skateboarding with a camera like takes a lot of coordination.
It does.
Takes a lot of like, you gotta think ahead.
It does.
You gotta see where you're going, see the shot. It's like a lot of different variables, right?
Well, a lot of times when we're filming on a skateboard, we would use, well, back in the day, what was called it's called a depth lens. So it's basically a super, super, super wide fisheye. So what it would enable you to do is like, say this is a skateboarder here, I would literally be able to get like this close, and I'd be able to see pretty much everything. So the fisheye kind of took some of that aspect out of you having to concentrate so much. You still have to frame it, properly, but ideally the look was better if you were closer.
Gotcha.
to the actual skateboarder.
'Cause it's like,
Yeah, when you're even like 5-10 feet away, like it started to look, yeah, really weird.
yeah. Did you dabble in photography at all?
I did a little bit before I actually picked up a like video camera. You know, I'd screw around, you know, the art school or, you know, the photography class in school. It's like, yeah, go outside and take pictures of things. So everybody would just take pictures of flowers and like stupid little things.
I mean, I still do it. How many times
flowers
are you
cool,
gonna,
bro?
bro, macro.
Yeah,
Dude,
macro
come
photography,
on.
yeah. Every now and again, I like taking pictures, but video is my main thing.
Yeah.
I never got like too locked into photography.
I definitely think there's also like more money in video. I mean, like everyone needs video nowadays with reels and all that shit. So
Yeah,
there's definitely photography like needs, but I think like
there's a need.
everything, like every business now needs some sort of video done for them. Don't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Photos still very relevant,
Yeah.
but the necessity is not as much there, and that can change. Honestly, I think what affects that is the social media platforms and what they're pushing, right? If they're starting to push like way more photography in the sense of engagement and views, then I think the tide would shift a little bit. But for me personally, I will always still do video because I enjoy the process of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I just love it.
Yeah. What was your first ever professional shoot, like paid? Like someone hit you up and you showed up and you got paid for it, and like it was your first ever like actual like income from video.
I mean, back when I first started, it wasn't like fully professional, but I had started out doing a lot of in the automotive world or just in general.
Just like literally dead like first ever professional shoot. How did it go? Walk me through it.
One of the earliest things I can remember was doing stuff for Petrolworks Performance, which was a performance shop down the 5-10 minutes from my house. So I was doing a lot of weekly content for them. What was in the shop, what was going on, filming some of the builds, the finished products and stuff like that. Before then, I was getting paid to film skateboarding. So in that sense, I mean, that whole world is a professional world in itself.
Yeah.
Maybe a little different than like a production like on set, but it's still something, you know? So, but besides the skateboarding stuff, I was doing a lot of like local stuff for performance shops and things like that.
Did you have, when you started out, did you have a sort of like mentor or someone that you kind of looked up to that gave you like advice when you were starting? Because I know it's very like, when you open up into the professional video world, like especially for me, I've only been in it for like 2-ish years. There's just so many variables that hit you, and you're like, you kind of need like to seek someone, be like, oh, like any pointers for this. Did you have someone like that, or did you kind of find it out all on your own?
I would say like 95% I found out on my own. I mean, I was influenced by certain creators or directors on YouTube and certain videos, but for the most part, like I did everything myself. The person who actually inspired me to really pick up my first professional camera, I was talking about the VX1000s and 2000s back in the day for skateboarding, was this guy I'm friends with still, Richie Banks. So essentially what had happened, we had met up, we were skating at a spot, and I had never filmed skateboarding at that time. And he was just like, hey, you want to film a few tricks? I'll show you how to actually like frame with the fisheye and all that stuff. And since then, I had filmed with him for years after that. So to be honest, he was a big inspiration in how I started. But after that, it was pretty much just everything myself.
Did you find, because there's a lot of challenges when you're starting out, did you find one challenge to be particularly like the hardest to overcome when specifically like starting out thinking about it professionally, like your business part? Like was there just something you kind of couldn't like overcome, but like eventually you kind of figured it out, like navigated through like a challenge?
I mean, something even still to this day, I've figured it out for the most part, but balancing clients who are friends also I find is very difficult, and where that line is between friendship and business and how things can get awkward between them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's honestly still one of the things I deal with today, because every client and every friend is different. So like the challenges you get from each one of those is always going to be different, but you're always learning and experiencing how to overcome them. But that's honestly probably the biggest thing I still face really to this day.
The thing with, when you brought up friends, everyone wants a discount. And it's
the homie hookup.
The homie hookup.
The homie hookup.
It's like,
meanwhile, the homie should be supporting you
speaking to the choir over here.
Right.
If you have anyone that's your friend and they're asking for discounts, tell them fuck them.
Fuck them.
Yo, don't actually fuck them. Not
There,
like that.
yo.
All right.
Pause.
But just tell them, you know, professionally.
Yeah. No, I mean, but like if they opened their own business, I mean, you wouldn't like I don't know, a detailing your business. Like, would you be asking for the whole meal cup?
It's like, oh, like literally, no. Well, if you're asking me personally, I would pay the full price because
Same, 100%.
If you really are looking out for the best interest, you want to support
for sure
their interest. And like I know with videography, your camera could be paid off and stuff, but like a shoot is still losing money. You know, you're still losing money if you're not gaining any back. It's your time, it's depreciation on the camera, shutter life, whatever. You gotta people gotta understand, you know, this stuff isn't free, and
and then you're in the editing process too, and that takes a shitload of time that people don't even, you know, realize. They're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go shoot this thing. Yeah, come out for a few hours, you know, film something. Nah, bro.
People think that it's like, oh, all that money just for like a video, but like they don't understand, like you have to rig the camera out, you gotta get there, shoot, adjust all the settings while shooting, like, you know, being conscious of exposure, all this stuff, you know, audio, making sure everything's good, then offloading the memory cards, putting them in to your storage system that you pay for, whether it's cloud storage or a hard drive, or it's just all time and money. Then you haven't even touched the footage yet. Then you have to edit everything, which will probably take, if it's something pretty in depth, right? It's probably take a couple days to a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's all time that you could be doing something else, making money.
Growing business, whatever.
Exactly. So I just think it's so crazy that people, and it might be just because they don't understand like how much goes into it really.
Potentially.
But like there is so much behind the scenes that people like they don't really consider. Like, oh, like that much money for a video, but it's like, no, it's not just a video. It's
the knowledge, it's the experience, it's the craft, it's everything. The camera gear. You know your homie's a true friend when they invite you out somewhere and they don't ask you to bring the camera. Mark that. I'm telling you, mark that.
Got it. Everyone write that down.
Write that down.
Notes.
Take notes.
So I didn't want to leave SchwaaFilms out because I know that it's a really big part. Yeah, it's a fucking
still alive to this day.
Yeah, it's a huge part, and you this was kind of your thing before Blacksail, right?
Still is, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you mentioned on the other podcast you did that you started in construction and then you leaped full time into Blacksail or SchwaaFilms, like you kind of
SchwaaFilms. SchwaaFilms was going hand in hand at the same time. Yeah. It was like a part-time thing, kind of figuring out until I got like steady enough to where, actually, really it wasn't even steady enough. I just took the jump at one point. I was just like, I don't want to do what I was doing anymore. You know.
What was that moment like? Like, can you think of like a specific time, whether like you got home from work or something, where you were just like, I can't do this anymore. I got to chase like my dreams. You know, I just got to fucking leave it all behind.
Yeah, it was week after week. I was just, you know, I like working construction. I like working with my hands. I like doing that kind of stuff. But I was doing 50, 60 hours, 50 to 60 hour weeks. I was just coming home and I was exhausted and like, I liked it, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do because I've been filming for years before then, obviously. So I kind of knew that like I still wanted to do film. But I was filming on the side as I was doing construction and other stuff, and I was like, you know, maybe if I get it to the point where it's really up and running, I can stop doing construction, the other stuff I'm doing, and kind of just figure it out. But at one point, I was just like, I needed the time I was using in construction to put into the business and really starting it and growing it. So at one point, I was just like, fuck this, I'm going in fully, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Whatever, I'll figure it out. But I was determined to make it work, and it's been history since then.
This is where we are now.
Yeah.
So it was almost like, yep, exactly. It's almost like they literally intercepted. Like it got to a point where it wasn't just like in your mind, like literally like you needed the time spent at construction to actually do video editing.
Yeah, for sure.
That point, that need recognition, you were like, all right, this clearly has to go one way, right?
Well, what's funny is that, you know, I just said I was working 50, 60 hours a week in construction. Owning my own business, I'm working more hours than that anyway. But the thing is that I make my own schedule. I enjoy it. I meet great people, connections, do something different every day. So it's exciting. It's a different 50, 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah, but it's, you know, something you love. So
100%.
That's all that matters. So we all know that you blew up mainly from H2OI, right? So that was the big thing. And like, I want to know which year was it where it kind of like blew up? Were there years before where it was just kind of like steady, and then there was one year where it just like completely exploded? Like, what was that like? What were you feeling? What were you thinking during that time? Like, holy shit, like, you know, this is going crazy right now.
So 2015 and 16 were good. 2017, I think it was when really a lot of credit is to Kyle, Mustang Kyle with the crazy wide body Mustang. Really credit to him because his car really made his car was the thumbnail for 2017 and 2018. So because people loved that car and wanted to see it, that's part of what made it pop. The other videos did extremely well too, but I think those 2 years specifically are really what launched it. So credit to Kyle and thank you for that.
So were you like those videos, the subscribers were just going crazy, like the counts were just keep going up?
Yeah,
those 2 videos?
they were. I mean, it's interesting because the H2O videos, they didn't really have a shelf life, and what I meant by that is you could film the event and you could put out the video 6 months later, a year later, year and a half later, and it would still get views because for whatever reason, it is a worldwide phenomenon. Yeah.
It's just like everyone wanted to see it.
Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. I mean, the vibes were incredible. The cars were great. People were great. Obviously, there was a lot of action stuff going on towards the end of H2O. It obviously got really shitty. But yeah, I mean, everyone just loved to see it. I mean, they still get views to this day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's insane.
So when you talk about the thumbnail of a video, right? You had Mustang Kyle as a thumbnail. Does a thumbnail really like have a lot of impact on how the video is going to do in your experience?
I think so. Yeah, I do. It's really what attracts people when they're viewing videos. You know, when you see the thumbnails on the side, they're like, oh, what's this? And, you know, Kyle's car looked absolutely crazy. And at the time, actually maybe to this time too, there's still really nothing like it. So people would just immediately go to that. And if they hadn't watched H2O before, they would watch it now because of the thumbnail.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, if you look at all the top creators, they use enticing thumbnails and verbiage and all that kind of stuff to draw you in. Yeah. You know, a lot of the times it's not worth it to watch the video, but the thumbnail attracts you in anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
So apart from doing events, you also do these private like feature shoots, and I've been on a couple with you, and I've seen how they work. When you're picking spots specifically, what is kind of your thought process behind what locations you're picking? Does it have something to do with the car? Like, do you pick spots that are like good for the car, how it looks, like, environment-wise? Like, what is going through your head? How do you plan out sort of the spot aspect of it?
So that revolves around a lot of what the car looks like. If we're shooting in the daytime or nighttime or both. If I have music picked out beforehand, that affects it too, because if it's some like really trap hardcore type music, it might be like an industrial dark setting or stuff like that. But it really comes down to what the car looks like, because if it's like a stock Volkswagen Beetle, I'm not going to put it in like an abandoned warehouse. Although who knows, maybe that'll go viral. I don't know. You never know. You don't know. But a lot of that revolves around what the car looks like, for sure.
This is just a thought I have. I think like Porsches specifically work so well with like harmonic music, because I just think the Porsche brand is like very much like very dedicated to engineering and like quality, and like I've seen videos with Porsches and it's like angelic harmonic music. I just think it works so well.
Well, it does. And the exhaust notes of them, in a way, are harmonic as well. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and Dodges are more like, you know, heavy hitters, like grunge, even like muscle cars too.
Well, the Dodgers and stuff get a bad rap now just because of the takeover stuff. So like, and they put hood rap music to that kind of stuff. So like that goes hand in hand now, which, you know, whatever.
You never see a Porsche there, so.
Nah, not really. Not really.
So a big aspect of the features that you do, those private shoots, is the roller part. And you have the arm, you have the Movmax N2 Mini?
Yes, N2 Mini, yep.
Before that, were you hanging out of cars and doing it? And how was that? And what kind of made you switch over to like an arm system where you?
I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, at first I was hanging out of cars, side windows, trunks. I had a Infiniti Q50 back in the day that if I couldn't film out the side window and I wanted a true like rear roller, I would have to pop the trunk and sit in the trunk, and you know what they look like. You got to sit in there crunched and like your legs are hanging out. That was no harness. Don't recommend that. Don't ever do that with no harness. Yeah, bro, this was back in the day, man. This was back in the day. But then it evolved into making my own custom car rigs for the back, so I didn't have to do all that kind of stuff. every now and again, I would still wear a harness for certain things where I couldn't use my custom rig and things like that. And then it finally evolved to bigger arms like the Moto Crane arm, the Movmax, then to our Mini, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I know you have that Moto Crane arm, and that's sort of for like the heavier setups.
That's for the heavy lift stuff, yeah.
Do you use that as much, or is it mainly like, I know you have the 4D with the Movmax, that's kind of like your main running gun for most features, right? Do you have like a specific, will you look at a shoot and be like, okay, I need to use the red with the Moto Crane, like this just has to be, because it's like a more, you think it's like more of like a quality cinematic setup? Like what do you like, how do you picture like Movmax with DJI, Moto Crane with red? How do you pick between like what's the needs and like styles for each?
So the Movmax and DJI I use for quickness and efficiency, not that it can't be used for higher end sets, which it absolutely can, but for all the feature stuff, because also, like, to be honest, there's a certain pay grade and pay difference between like a high budget production and just like a regular feature shoot. So to bring out the red Moto Crane, spend the time rigging and get all that kind of stuff, like it has to be a budget where it makes sense, you know, being truthful. So there's a discrepancy in that, but the Moto Crane in red is really for your higher end like commercial stuff, unless like I need to test something out like with a piece of gear or like a new lens and like I just want to screw around and figure something out. But for speed and efficiency, the Movmax and the 4D are definitely like my go-to.
Definitely a game changer, because you could do all of the exposure settings.
Yeah, I mean, you've been with me. Like, yeah, everything's set up, like literally the speed rail, the monitor, everything's set up in 5 minutes.
It may be, yeah, you just switch it literally, still attached to the arm, just one socket and just,
yeah, exactly. If you want to move it to the front, you unscrew the arm on the back and just take the whole thing, bring it to the front, and it's good to go in like a minute, not even.
So with the red, what is the biggest difference in like the image compared to the DJI? Like what, like especially with rolling shots, like is it the details? Like you can really get in on the details with the red?
The red definitely has, well, it's got a different look overall in terms of color, softness. It's got that cinematic look. I like both of them, to be honest, like pretty equally. They're just different. I think in low light, the DJI has been better for me. Honestly, the sensor on the 40 is insane too. But I mean, the red that I have is the Gemini. So that's the DSMC2 body, which is now old tech because they have the DSMC3 and all that stuff, which is, I think, to be honest, a little bit better quality overall. But the red image is great because you have the RAW flexibility. Whereas on the 40, you have ProRes RAW, which is, if I had to put a percentage on it, is maybe like 40% of what RAW capability is. If that makes sense.
But like with YouTube and social media, are you really telling the difference now?
No.
Exactly. So like that red true RAW would need to be used for like maybe like a giant screen, right? Like
a giant screen, or I mean even like a regular TV too. That's where you're really going to start to tell the difference. For social media, like if you really want a distinct look that's going to look insane, it's going to come down to the lighting and the lens that you use. Because I mean, you could shoot on a Sony a7S II or an a7 III, right, for social media, and it still comes out great.
Oh, yeah.
If you maybe put them side by side, which would never happen because you're scrolling anyway, you'd be able to tell like a bit of a difference just because the sensors and stuff are slightly different looks in general. But I mean, for social media, it's not.
The biggest difference, like when I start to see like the a7 III kind of think its shortcomings, is when it's on my TV. When it's blown up on like a full display TV, like on YouTube. Then I'll start to see it. When it's on my phone, everything's so small, compressed together. It's like you don't, those just kind of like, those like little intricacies just kind of like dissipate. You know what I mean? Even for like a MacBook screen, like when I'm viewing like the other episode I did, it was like, couldn't really tell anything, you know?
Well, I mean, that's the same like on my widescreen monitor, and like some of the videos that we play, like I've had videos played in theaters on projectors, and like you could tell a difference. But maybe for people out there who are trying to figure out like what camera they should get based upon that, like maybe look, if you have analytics on Instagram or YouTube, see what people are viewing your stuff on. Is it, because they tell you that kind of stuff, like is it a phone, a tablet, is it a TV? Majority of people are going to be on the phones, right? But I mean, that might be a good tool to try and help, you know?
So going back to the car rollers, so we went over spots, We went over rollers and the rig. But how, because when I was on shoot with you this one time, we had a little bit of problems with like spots. It was with the GTS, AMG GTS in Jersey City. We had like an issue with the spot, and we had to like, you know, go to a different one. Do you kind of like have those like expectations in mind, like, oh, like something might go wrong, and do you have like a plan for it?
Always.
Always.
There are going to be times though, because I don't like where the car is too far for me to go location scout. So what I'll do is if the client doesn't know the area, I'll go on Google Maps and find stuff, right?
Google
Which
Maps
is
fucking
it is. But the caveat to that is a lot of the images on Google Maps, they could be from 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, so you don't know what the spot exactly looks like. So you should have a list of like a good few locations that, you know, if you're either going to get kicked out or if the spot doesn't look like it actually looks like, or you just don't like it, you should have backup plans for sure, which is 98% of the time I do.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite feature that you've shot to this day?
Right now, the one that I like the most is the GT40 that I did this past year.
Yeah,
that's
sick.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
That opening shot.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
So I had seen a shot similar to that on I think it was a drive. Actually, it might have been from this guy MotionVid on Instagram.
I think I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's awesome. Super nice guy. He did a shot where the driver door closes, then it goes to driving before the trend.
Oh, with the Porsche, right?
Yeah, I think it was a black, white or black. I forget.
Right, yeah.
But he did that before this trend started with all the people doing it now.
Yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, damn, like there's got to be another car that you could do something cool like that on. And I was like, GT40, it's got the, you know, the engine cover that folds all the way down, and luckily I knew someone who had one. I was like, dude, I got to try this, and it turned out the way it turned out.
So when like thinking about it, you know, unwinding it to shooting, it was sort of just like suction mount, closing it, and then just letting him drive, right? And then it was just kind of, you cut the in between, so it would just go straight to.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the thing with that is I knew when it was going to close that the camera would shake no matter what, because on that engine cover, you can't really gently close it without like some sort of shake. So I knew when it shook that when he went out to the road, like if he's flying at high speeds, it's going to shake also. So that little shake, even though some people like things to be perfectly smooth all the time, when there's a little shake like that, it's a perfect transition to where you're driving along, you know? So don't be afraid to do stuff like that. Don't be afraid to have everything so perfectly smooth and aligned, you know?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I figured as soon as it shook like that, this is going to be dope.
With the audio, because I know that car is fucking loud.
That shit got blown out, my guy.
So like what did you use to record the exhaust audio with? Or did you use like?
No, I used so at that time I didn't have a 32-bit float recorder, which sucked because that would have saved a lot of like the top end stuff. But with that being said, the 32-bit float recorder isn't the end-all be-all. You need a microphone that's going to be able to handle high decibel volume, because if the mic can't handle it, the recorder is useless, right? And it also depends.
So it's not only the mic.
Yeah, the mic has to. Every microphone has a decibel level threshold of what it can take. So like concert mics, for example, have a high decibel threshold, because if you got a singer that's screaming into the mic, it needs to be able to take that, because otherwise there are like ribbons and cables inside the mic, and they can get blown out, you know, and destroy the mic from high.
Wow.
Absolutely. So people always think, oh, 32-bit float, it's great. Yeah, but if the mic or the internal mic, even on like the DJI mics, if they can't handle that, then it doesn't matter.
Wow, I didn't know.
So for that, it would have helped because I had the mics that could handle it. However, I didn't have the recorder, which would have saved a little bit more. But also my mistake is that I've mic'd up cars that are extremely loud, probably almost as equal to that, but I placed them a little bit too close. So they ended up blowing out on the top end, which the 32-bit float would have saved it because the mic can handle it. I know that. But in a way, it kind of worked out because the blown out audio kind of added to, it kind of sounded shitty, like for me, just because I know.
Sounds like.
But for the sheer like speed and the first transition, it kind of worked.
Like it's like uncontrollable. It's all like, it's all moving around.
Yeah. So not everything has to be perfect, you know?
Gotcha. So I did a little stalk. You had a Jeep before the 4Runner.
Damn, bro, you stalking?
Bro, I gotta be prepared for the podcast.
You do.
So now you have the 4Runner, and that's your camera car.
Goated.
Did you like have the camera car idea in mind when you were shopping for a new car? Like, why'd you pick the 4Runner exactly?
So yeah, I've always had. Whenever I would choose a work car, it'd always be camera car related, like in mind. When I had the Jeep, that's when I had that custom camera car tow rig that mounted to the roof rack and stuff. So it's always been something in mind. But the 4Runner I chose, obviously it's reliable. If it gets beat up, like I don't necessarily care because we're doing all these shoots on, crazy areas. So it's going to get beat up. Gear's going to hit into it. It's got the roll down back window and also so clutch for a lot of things, right? And it's just a great utility vehicle. I don't think people really understand how big they are on the inside. Like when we take trips to do other production shoots, like we can fit like 15, 20 like big cases in there with 2-3 people.
When we went to Wolfsgard,
yeah, that was a lot of shit in there.
Shoved everything in there. I was like,
dude, and I got a picture of that.
You had to use the engine to brake because it was just so much.
Yeah, it was a lot of weight.
It was like
it's easily like another 1,000 pounds in there between all of us and the gear.
So do you think like 4Runner is a great camera car, right? But do you think there's an optimal, like what is the most optimal camera car on the market if money wasn't an issue? Like what would be like your top pick? Because I've seen like Trackhawks be used with the crane. I don't know if you've seen like,
Porsche
and like
Cayennes
the Porsche.
too.
Yeah, like what do you think is the if you could just pick any car to be the camera car, what would it be?
That's a good question. Although it does depend on the type of shoot that you're doing. Because like if I were to pick an M3, right? But we need to film a dune buggy out in the sands. You're not picking the M3, right?
So you got to pick one. You got to consider all these things. You got to pick one.
Put me on the spot. Put me on the spot.
Dude, I'm putting you on the spot.
Put me on the spot. If I had to choose all around, best all around.
If you had one car to use for the rest of your life for rollers.
And the rest of my life too?
Bro, I think that I've seen like the X5Ms be used. Pretty sick. It's got to be fast. It's got to be fast. The 4Runners.
It's slow, but it's reliable, man. It's reliable.
It's reliable. You can't get both.
It's all reliable.
Can't get both.
Also, the suspension on that, yours is better, right? Because you got the TRD. But like, even still.
All right, so for the people who don't know, I have a white TRD Pro 4Runner.
Fire.
He has SR5 black. But the thing is, yours kind of comes in clutch because it's black. I was doing a roller shoot yesterday.
And
you could it showed up on the red car because we did like a detail wheel shot. And on the red paint, you could clearly see the white 4Runner. So I'm thinking like, I got to wrap this thing like matte black.
Yeah, well, that's what the camera cars do. They wrap them matte black. But, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of times you can still see even matte black and everything. Even if you have a speed rail that's black also, like you could still see in the reflections. Yeah, you got to angle the camera car properly. A lot of times it gets, in high budget productions, it get VFX'd out anyway. So yeah, on certain reflections, not everything. But they'll angle the cars so it's not in the shot. But anyway, back to the other question. I would.
Well, I didn't think this would be that hard of a question for you. I thought you would have had one to go.
I mean, I'm just a big car guy too, so I'm trying. It's
it's a lot.
I mean, the Cayennes have a lot of issues mechanically, so reliability-wise, I probably wouldn't pick that, even though they are great. I'd probably go with a Trackhawk, gas eater, but yeah.
I mean, those aren't the most reliable, but we could. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool.
It's cool. I mean, also though, when picking up a camera car, you also got to think of your own exhaust note too, and loudness. So the track. I'm gonna just head out, bro. Just head out. I'll go with Trackhawk for now. Maybe I'll come back later with something else.
All right, listen. If
you know what, X5M is sick too. X5M is really sick. Yeah.
All right, so Movmax, I know, and Motor Crane aren't the only car, roller products out there. There's also the Tilta Hydra. Have you used it, and why do you pick the Movmax over it?
I have not used it. I know people who have. Personally, I think it needs like a redesign, and I know they've came out with other products and they're working on other things. I like Movmax because I've compared footage of them. I like the build quality of Movmax. I've used their other products before. It looks sleek. It operates pretty much out of the box, pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted from a smaller like camera arm package. That ticked all the boxes for me. Tilta's, you know, I've heard, you know, other friends that have had it, they've had issues with it, screws coming loose, like all like random things, which I know Tilta's addressed, and like they've done quality control on things, but
Well, yeah, Tilta, just not even the roller arms. I think in general, just like they have some weird kinks. Like even
yeah,
the ring, like
yeah,
I heard it could like short out and stuff, and like also it just pulls
hmm
power constantly.
pulls
Not
power
even when the
constantly.
gimbals
They
and everything.
yeah, the quality control definitely has to get better from them for
Yeah.
sure, but for the ARM Movmax as a company too, like they've been great. I'm in touch with a lot of the people there, and they answer questions. They have Facebook group, WhatsApp groups for questions, or you know, people just kind of show their footage and communicate and get ideas. So it ticked all the boxes for me for them as a
Yeah.
company.
When I got my Razor arm,
Mhm.
it was just so easy to set up. Everything was just kind of in there, assembled, like pre-assembled, and it's just really like when you think about it, like 4 or 5 main pieces, and you just screw them all together, and then
Pretty seamless.
you have a car rig now.
Yeah.
It's like back then, if you were to do this, it would take so much more like custom engineering and stuff. Where
Yeah.
like most, it just literally pay like a couple thousand. You have this very versatile in my experience so far. Like I've used it on 3 roller shoots now.
Yeah.
And the setup time hasn't been extremely like long. Maybe like when I'm swapping to the front, it gets a little long because you got to do everything.
But you know,
a
if you
little
set up with
differently.
speed rail and stuff, it's quicker. But like
Exactly.
all these companies that are flooding the market with camera gear and stuff is a good thing and a bad thing. Because I mean, 5, 6 years ago, we didn't have these accessible camera car arms and stuff to do all this stuff with. So in
Yeah.
a way, you know, it's good.
Yeah. So I know just recently you got a couple films nominated for the Motor Films
Yeah,
Awards
buddy.
Festival.
Hype.
Is
Hype.
that Motor Films Awards?
The Motor Film Awards. Yeah, they
Okay.
changed it. It was International Motor Film Awards at some point, I think, something like that. And then they recently changed it to Motor Film Awards, I think, a year or two ago.
So how many films like have you had nominated just like of all time?
Of all time, I think in total, including the 3 that just got
Yeah.
nominated, probably like 6. But also, I haven't really submitted much until the past like few years. Like I
Okay.
wasn't into that kind of thing until like just recently.
What has been your motivation behind like now starting to actually like put films in to this festival?
I mean, so the Motor Film Awards specifically is definitely the most prestigious award ceremony for automotive filmmaking, period. You know, there are other ones that are hosted here in the US and stuff, but that one is by far, I think this is their 11th year or 12th year. I forget that's running. So, you know, I had a few friends I knew back in the day that had submitted to them. And like at that time, I didn't have anything like worthy of being, submitting to them. So it's like, you know, whatever. And then, you know, one year I was like, screw it, I'll submit something. And it didn't get in, which is, you know, fine, to be expected. But then I kept submitting to that festival and other ones locally. And eventually they started getting in. Obviously, the quality increase and stuff like that. The 3 that are in the awards this year, you know, in that festival, you're going against the top of the top, multi-million-dollar budgets, huge companies.
Yeah,
So,
so I feel like that's kind of like unfair though. Like there should be like almost a categories like budget wise.
yeah, I kind of agree. However, there is a panel. I think it's like 10 judges that grade, you know, however their scale is, right, to figure out. I think because when you submit it, you actually tell them how much the budget was for
Mm,
it. I don't know if they take that into account specifically, but if they don't, they should. But yeah, there should be some sort of like category specifically
yeah,
for like X amount of budget
yeah.
sort of thing.
What like what is the kind of like outcome like let's say like what gets a film to win? Like what is like in your experience have you seen like why do films win and like what stands out specifically about them that makes them like honestly like get that award?
Mhm. It's interesting because I've seen films that have won that are, in my opinion, very run of the mill,
Yeah.
and they just kind of like fit the bill for that category. Maybe because I mean, it all comes down to the judges at the end of the day, right? And what
Yeah.
what they think meets their criteria. But for me personally, I think what you need the full package. You need a great story. You need diverse camera angles, not just gimbal stuff, right? You need, you know, I don't know, for example,
And
like
wides.
snorri cams, handheld stuff, car chase rigs, hard mount stuff, or you know, automotive stuff specifically. You need good lighting. Story, like I said, is key for sure, and kind of a unique idea because a lot of the stuff that gets submitted, it's very a lot of it's the same. It's like your normal like track, fast-paced stuff, which looks great, but you know, it's been done a million times. Sometimes people kind of reinvent it and do something different, and that's what wins. But the biggest thing is definitely story for me.
Have you seen like your sort of thought process behind features change now, seeing like film, like all these Motor Film Awards like films, because like you're saying you have to incorporate like a good story and stuff, like are you incorporating more people into it, like you now you're thinking like, okay, what's the conflict in the little piece, like what's the resolution, you're thinking about all these things now?
Definitely a lot more than I used to. However, there are some people who literally just want a feature of their car. They're cool with that. They don't want to be in it. They don't want a story. They just want awesome shots, which is, you know, totally fine too.
Yeah.
You know, that has its place, definitely, and I don't mind doing that. But for sure, everything that I do now has a much better thought process than even like a year ago stuff I was doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How do you see car content as a whole evolving over the next 5 years? Because I know it took a big turn about, what do you think, like 2-3 years ago with all the whole like speed ramp stuff?
Probably like, yeah, 2
Maybe
years.
even before.
Yeah, maybe
like,
a year and a half, 2 years, yeah.
Like that stuff kind of came out of nowhere, and it's still relevant and it's still getting views. Like, do you think that, like, where do you see the trend going next?
I hope it goes back to horizontal, bro.
I
'Cause I can't stand the vertical, bro.
Slow horizontal cinema. Yo, the one for the GTS, the client was like, "I want just slow cinematic shots." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's what we're here for."
Thank you. Shout out Paul.
Yeah.
Shout out Paul.
That's what we're here for. Like, enough.
Yep.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, no, it is. I think the speed ramp stuff is gonna go away at some point. It'll have its little niche place, but I think it'll go away.
Where do you want it to go?
I want it to go away from the 5 to 15 second, just mind-numbing, brain-rotting, as you would say, content that you just kind of see, like, and scroll through, because that has its place, obviously, for this kind of stuff, but it's just it's mind-numbing. There's no story. There's no like really cinema form to it. It's just, I don't know. You're just filming just to film, just to put out content. There's no like genuine like love in the content. It feels like, you know.
And I also think that you know, I'm 20 years old, so I know a lot of people that do this that are my age, and they're rocking gimbals, setups, whatever. They're at car meets, wherever, right? They're all rocking, you know, vertical mount, you know, doing all these trendy stuff, and I've like never liked that. Like whenever I've shot vertical, even people like have convinced me to try it. I've tried it. I just never have liked it, and I see everyone my age just doing the opposite. Like I think it's just, you know, ingrained in them. Like this is the trend for videography. When I see a vertically mounted camera on a gimbal, I'm like, bro, come on.
Cut it out.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't understand, and I think that it all depends on your goals. It all depends on your metrics. Like, where do you want to end up with this? If it's just casual and you want to just do social media, like cool speed ramp stuff, sure. You know,
but does that have a shelf life, right, for that person?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
People shoot, like you were saying, people shoot specifically for social media.
Yeah.
I don't think, and you know, some might just do it straight for fun. I mean, people definitely do it straight, you know, just for fun. But a lot of people who are filming just vertical content for social, they probably aren't even thinking of what their end goal is.
Exactly.
Like, what's going to happen in 2-3 years when maybe that form of content isn't, you know, people don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So I've had people like hit me up and be like, oh, like, you know, like starter guys with like just like iPhones, like, oh, like, what's the next step? Like, what should I do? I always ask them, like, what are your goals? Where's your head at? Where do you want to end up in this? And they always have a hard time. They don't even know. Right. I think that's the biggest part. It's like, honestly, stepping back for a moment, stop trying to like go on these runs for gear and stuff. Just like literally ask yourself, where do you want to end up? Yeah. And make the decisions that will lead you down that path. Ask the right people, get the right insights. Because for me, my end goal has always been, you know, making higher movie-like productions. So all my content I make, people give me shit. Why is it horizontal? Like, you know, I have to flip my phone to see it. But like, that has always been my style, and it will never change. That is what I want.
I mean, there's always going to be a place for cinema and for movies and commercials in that ratio. Like, unless every TV screen and everything just turns vertical.
It just goes.
Which, I don't know. Yeah. No,
we
no.
just like an asteroid hits and just like every TV's just like, it's like,
Bro.
uh-oh.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's all about your goals, and like you're saying, it's not even like it doesn't hold any weight.
Well, a lot of people really just do that stuff for just money too. Just views, just money, trying to make a quick
names,
buck.
of course.
No, not naming names, bro. Not naming names.
Yeah, no, I'm totally in the same boat with you. I've always done horizontal content. And I've even I've attracted the right clientele through it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had guys that will want horizontal car videos
Yeah.
for YouTube or whatever, and I'm sure obviously you've found a bunch of clients like that too. So I think it's staying true to your style is most important and your goals. Because
Definitely.
I've had periods where like I will resort to doing trendy stuff and I will not like it and it won't even come out good because I'm not liking it when making it, so I'm not making it the best possible way. So I end up just making like a pretty, minimum, like not even that good of a piece.
Yeah.
Just to follow the trend, but I'd be much better off making a very excellent piece on the style I like.
For sure.
And people will still like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
I think people need to do their due diligence in finding out what they want to do down the road and thinking of like your future investment, right? Because if you're doing this stuff now and you don't have any sort of mindset of what you want to do later or where you want to go, right? All of a sudden, time goes by really quick, man. So 2-3 years later, you're sitting at your desk and you have no client work and you're just twiddling your thumbs like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be in that situation. Sure, you could pivot from that and figure something out, but it would be in your best interest to figure that out now. It doesn't have to be an exact straight line to your goal, right? Because that's never the way it is. So figure out like a few different things you'd want to go towards and kind of start, figuring that out.
I mean, I think you hit it on the nail. You hit the nail on the head with straight line.
Yeah, never is.
My 2024 has been like crazy in where I've ended up. Like even here, like I
Film
literally,
Forest, bro.
I have
Film
Sam
Forest.
Schwartz on Film Forest. Like, but literally,
The pirate hat,
dude,
skull,
dude,
the bottle, the note in it?
with the note. I don't know what that is. Maybe we'll get back to it soon.
We'll see.
But I literally bought a monitor from you, right?
Crazy.
Walked in, bought the monitor, and like, I don't know, just fucking. That's just how this shit works, right?
Yeah, connections in the industry and just talking to people or buying gear.
Yeah, just pay to play. But
no, but seriously, like I probably wouldn't have met you otherwise, right? Unless I randomly saw you at a show or
like,
whatever.
I genuinely needed that monitor. Though, like it was actually like a need that I wanted. Like I'm using the monitor to record right now.
Sure.
But
is it still recording?
Yeah, imagine. But no, I just thought it would be like, yo, if I buy this from him, like I get in the door, like talk to people and stuff. Like there's always a conversation to be had about knowing how to use the resources that are out there and making the opportunities for you, because people wait for opportunities, but you have to make them.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I think one of the biggest things with this industry, when you're starting your own business and you're just by yourself, you're the one that has to get the business. You're the one that has to get the leads, right? So if you're a very reserved person in this business, it's going to be a lot harder. So a lot of the times you have to learn a lot about yourself and kind of break out of your shell and go and network or like, maybe do some stuff for free just to be able to like talk to people at that event or figure things out. So I think a lot of people that try and start and they're like, yeah, it's going to be so easy. I'm going to run my own business. Running your own business is very difficult. And like, you really have to put yourself out there and sometimes put yourself in very uncomfortable situations. And a lot of times you kind of figure out a little bit about yourself too, which is a great thing,
People just think that the work will get them clients, like having your work posted, and it's
not always the case.
A lot of it's outreach, right?
A lot of it is outreach. At some point, when you're, rolling over work, job after job after job, like it'll start to trickle in easier, right? When you're very established and you have the network and you have the employees and that kind of stuff. But in this business, there are a lot of times where 1 month is insanely good and the next 2 aren't, right? So you have to do your due diligence and make sure you have a steady stream of income and a steady stream of work, especially if you want to post on social and keep the momentum going and all that kind of stuff. Unless, of course, you're the type of person where like, hey, I want to work 2-3 jobs and like, I can afford to live off of this and like, this is what I want to do. And that's what I enjoy. Sure, totally.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out now is like setting myself, because I'm senior year and then I'm out of college. Like I'm trying to, you know, set myself up so when I'm out, I have, you know, a good base of work to have, and then keep building upon that. Yeah. Because, you know, I'm not trying to live just like, you know, I can get by, but like I want to, you know, have enough money to do all the things that I want to do, start a family, whatever. So I think a lot of it comes down to, like you're saying, like getting out there, not being introverted. And it sucks, but like, because some people are just really, it's really hard. Because I know a lot of photographers that are very introverted.
They are, but you know, they might want to think about bringing someone on that isn't the introverted person, that they don't have to film necessarily, right? They could just be the face of the company that helps to bring in the work, and you know, the introverted person can just be the one that's doing all that and making all the moves on the back end, which, you know, happens in a lot of production companies and other companies as well. So something to think about. Yeah.
So I think it's a perfect segue, honestly, into getting into a lot of specific Blacksail questions of running day-to-day, running a business. So we're going to go in a deep dive.
It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours, bro. A lot of caffeine, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't. If I have 4 words, it's 3. 3 words.
Don't do it.
It's so much caffeine, I'm making words up. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So, yeah, perfect, good question. Ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Day to day,
boy.
Biggest challenge day to day on running a video agency. Day to day, what is the biggest challenge? What is like
maintaining your quality of life, literally.
Really?
Yes.
It's more specific,
work-life
like
balance.
Like just the hours worked.
Yeah, literally, because me specifically, not everybody's like this. Like there are weeks where I'll literally pull 70 hours, 80 hours between working jobs, having to edit stuff if the other guys can't edit stuff, or they're editing stuff simultaneously, still trying to get in work for like the next month, or making budgets for clients, or doing pre-production, planning, like all this kind of stuff. Luckily, I enjoy a lot of it. Not all of it, and there's some weeks that are much shittier than others, and sometimes I question, like, why the fuck am I doing this?
I'm sure this is a great start to your week.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. No, I'm lit. This is great.
Dude, dressing up as a pirate and doing a
15-hour
podcast
with the skull.
Mark me.
Timu backdrop, bro. Fire.
So it's the hours worked, and it's inconsistent, right? You think like some days you'll not work as much like than others, or is it kind of like...
definitely. It depends on the workload for the week, and like if I'm actually physically going out and shooting, obviously. But as you get older too, you know, I love building a business, making money, making connections. We'll always do that. Yeah. But as you get older, like you start to like value things differently. You know, spending time with family or friends, because like a lot of times when you own your own business, like you can't just go out and do stuff with friends. You can't go out during the night or on the weekend. You got stuff going on. So trying to figure that out. And I feel like that's almost like a lifelong thing, figuring out the work-life balance. Well, a career-long thing, you know, until you get to this really stable position to where like you can send crews out to do your own thing, or you just take a step back and be like, I only want to make X amount per year, but I'm going to enjoy my life. So you as a person have to figure out like what that looks like, you know?
When's the last time you went on vacation? Because I know your whole crew is essentially.
Are you going to put question marks around me? When last time I went on vacation.
When was the last real vacation?
I had a while ago. I don't remember off the bat.
You also can, like, when because you travel a lot, right? You're on the plane a lot, right? I see on your story, you're traveling here, and then you were just in Florida. Like, you could also do, like, some fun stuff while you're down there, right?
Yeah, I try to. It depends on the week. So if I don't have, like, a huge workload for that week, sometimes I'll try and come into the job, like, if I'm flying somewhere, come in, like, a day or two before and or stay a day or two after and kind of make an experience out of it. But, you know, at the same time, it's still, like, you're still bringing all the gear there. It's still, like, this, you got to make sure the gear's safe, right? So if you're traveling with it, you can't always keep it in the car because it gets stolen. So, like, you're still limited on certain things. But it is definitely a huge benefit that doing what we do, we can travel and do all this kind of stuff. It definitely helps.
Cool.
But it's not like a vacation. But, yeah. I'm sick in the head, though. When I'm on vacation, I'm thinking about work anyway, which is part of figuring out that work-life balance, because especially with the phones and stuff, like when I'm on vacation, I try and not have that because I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing, who I'm with. But I mean, it's hard doing that while running a business, man, for sure.
I just think that just like is every business, right? that's not even just limited to video. I feel like these long hours that you're talking about and stuff is just kind of like the byproduct of wanting to expand in business, right?
It is. It is. And it's also like a cultural thing in like the United States. It's just like grind, 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 grind. And like having the phone, like you always got to be accessible. And like if someone reaches out to you at like 10 or 11 p.m. on a Sunday, which like has happened to me numerous times, which I get annoyed about. I'm like, dude, this is because like 10 years ago, that wouldn't be okay. Right.
Yeah.
But now it's fine because everyone has a phone and they just expect you to answer at like all times, anytime.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating for sure.
Do you get hit up for jobs like super last minute and you have to go, or like have you ever had that?
Yeah, very. I'd say like maybe like 20% of the time where it's like a day before, or even like a lot of times 3 days before is last minute, or a week before can be last minute, depending on what the scope of the shoot is, right? If they have this like huge budget where we need to fit in all this kind of stuff, you know, we got a 30-man crew, whatever. A week before is the last minute. You know, we can put it together and we can do all that, but yeah, I mean, the last minute stuff, we make it work because we have to make it work, and you know the end product ends up being fine. A lot of times it's great, but there's a lot of added pressure and stress, that kind of stuff. So obviously having an ample amount of time to plan something is better.
Yeah. When running a video business, how do you find the right people for the job?
That is a great question. You tell me. You're on my jobs now.
Listen,
well,
bro.
what are your qualities? What are your qualities?
Dress up and
we're here, bro. We're here.
I don't know.
We're here. For me personally, people who have, number one, great personalities, who I know can mesh well with clients. Like they're not dick. Oh, I got fucking Neo though. He's a wild one, huh?
So it's less the technical qualifications, or like you still have
no,
to obviously...
it depends, because there are some people who I want on the team that are very technical, or they could be like a Swiss Army knife. I can literally throw them in and they can like figure out how to do something without me explaining it, or even I don't know, and they just figure it out. A Swiss Army knife is great. Someone who's very like pretty much like ADD on certain things, right? Because they can find out how things work. They can focus on being like super creative, or like they see things that you don't see. So like that, someone like that's a great benefit. But I also like having people who are new, who aren't like really into the game so much, because you can teach them and kind of mold them the way that you want based upon like their personality and work ethics and qualities and things like that. But overall, having a good personality, because for us, we like having fun on set. We're not the production company that's just like, do this, and like we just end the day, right? We like to have fun. So having a good personality is great, and work ethic is obviously a huge thing too, you know?
Okay, cool. So like, you think that a lot of the times clients will pick you over another agency because of the people on set?
1000%. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of that comes from, well, it comes from word of mouth from other clients who tell that client that choose us, right? But about our personality and like the way we do things. But a lot of that is like posting behind the scenes and like fun stuff that we do and like who we are, phone call consultations, and like showing myself or everybody else, and like just, you know, having, because a lot of times these people, these other production companies, they're just very, just like stoic, just, they don't really, I don't know, they don't really have a personality. And then it's like, that kind of stuff also comes off on video, right? And projected onto the footage that they shoot, because sometimes that person, it kind of translates to this, like the footage is kind of boring also, you know? It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because on the first episode, when I had the photographer on, I asked, like, how do you make people comfortable on set? You know, like, because a lot of people, you know, when you're first meeting you on a shoot, there could be tight. I'm sure you've experienced that in your own, sort of this ice, and like a lot of the times you just have to like make things funny. Yeah. You know, like you just have to
sometimes you just have to say an absurd joke just to get out of the way, just to break the ice.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy, you know, but like borderline, you know, figure it out, because you can then gauge, you know, kind of where they're.
Yeah, exactly.
There are obviously going to be clients that you deal with that are just very straight faced, and they just want to get the job done, or you know, whatever the case is. But yeah, I mean, talking to people, trying to make them laugh, cracking a joke, or like if you're doing interviews with a person who isn't on camera much, right? Like, you know, do a bunch of takes with them, make them laugh, crack jokes, like, I don't know, just say some ridiculous stuff.
We've had some experience with all types of people in interviews.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think it all comes down to like, I love Nick when he's on set, because he always makes people laugh.
Yeah.
So
Because he's an idiot, dude, but he's great.
Yeah,
He's a great
you
idiot.
need that.
Yeah,
you need that
do.
on set.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
almost there. I'm not really like he always makes the first call, like saying something.
Yeah,
and
but
then, like, I
he's
start
been
to
doing
follow.
it for a while. That's
Yeah,
why,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
And you also like as you progress, you know, you start doing it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You kind of figure out clients and you kind of crack the code on like what their personality is. So like when we go into a job, we can immediately tell what that person, you know, what that person's personality is like, and we can kind of figure that out. Ironically, sometimes those people who are very straight-faced and like boring or whatever, a lot of times when you rap and you go out for drinks later, right, and you know have a rap party or whatever, that's when their actual true colors come out, right? And you figure them out, and then the next time you see them, you know, you crack that it's different.
Yeah.
It's a whole different vibe, and they just needed to warm up to you.
Yeah.
It's very.
You kind of crack that almost code, and that's like that builds like that trust almost. Like, 'cause
Absolutely.
You see them and then
Absolutely.
you're drinking with them and stuff. So.
Absolutely, and you know. You start to become friendly with them, and because they don't see you as client-to-client relationship, they see you like friend to friend, right? Their personality changes a little bit, and you actually see who they are really, not just like the regular like 9-to-5 business person, you know?
Yeah. So when you started the business, did you have any doubts, and do you currently have doubts, and how did these doubts have matured or changed over time? Like, were your doubts differently? Obviously, when you're starting out, it's a lot of risk. So like, what are the doubts now as opposed to before, if you still have doubts about things now?
I wouldn't say it's doubts, more so just day-to-day worries of running a business. So like at first the initial worry or doubt was like, obviously, can I do this? Can I maintain this? Can I get to the level that I want to be at? And there's like still, I mean, it's natural, right? There's still some of that to this day, even though we're like super busy and it's great. There's still, you know, you never know what can happen next year. I mean, COVID did a number on us, right? So anything can happen.
It's like an expectation to do a good job, almost like you want to do a good job.
Absolutely.
So you have like doubts.
So
about that.
my biggest like worry every month is just making sure that I have enough work for the guys. And now, you know, I have a 3-month-old son and my wife, so like, you know, providing for them as well. But also, yeah, it's the people you're around, or you know, that are your employees that you deal with on a day-to-day basis and hang out on a day-to-day basis, that like you gotta, I mean, they're depending on you, right? So that's always a worry, but that's also part of the reason why I'm so driven to do what I do, is provide for them, myself, you know, family, and also getting to the bigger goals and stuff that I want to do. That's the worry that's changed over time for me as we grow, but I've never had any real doubts that this wouldn't work, because I know my work ethic, I know what I do, I know what I'm capable of. So I've really never had a worry in that regard.
So you spoke about like your end goal and like, you know, reaching that level. What is that to you?
That level to me is still working with friends, having a good number of employees that, you know, really are like a family to you, because you're working with them every day, tons of hours every week, having a big enough studio space to where we can have like a loft, a nice big cyclorama, all that fun stuff, have cars and coffees all the time, but also, or events, but also getting to the level of, you know, we're doing these $1 million budget commercials or advertisements or whatever. Like, we do great stuff now, but it's not the level that I want to be at and that we're going to get to at some point. So, and not having to work like 90 hours every week, just doing job after job after job to provide for myself, other people, and keep the business going, to where we do 5, 6 a month, but like they're big budget stuff and they're fun stuff to do, you know?
And it also comes down to like, you know, you think it comes down to like having a bigger crew too, to like fill in?
To send people out, yeah. But, you know, a lot of times on these like bigger budget stuff, you know, you see 30, 40 people on these sets, and you could do the same thing they're doing for half the crew, half the cost. But I mean, that's just the industry as it is, right? But yeah, to your point, like sending certain crew out, definitely, but you have to have the jobs to do that.
Well, do you think that actually, you know, just in general, like movies, whatever it is, everything's getting smaller?
In certain sectors of the market, definitely. Like movie sets and like Netflix sets, they're still big.
They can ball out on that stuff.
Yeah, they got the budget, and like, you know, they want to make sure it's done right. So like, I understand it, but a lot of the, if you want to call it like mid-tier like budgets or whatever, even lower tier, they're definitely like scaling down to like smaller crew because they see what's able to be done, even just on cell phones, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the marketing people for these companies, like they axed a lot of their marketing budget for usage of production companies and moved it to in-house like social media and just cell phone stuff because they see the value in that.
Well, you see all these like shot on iPhone commercials. Those are a little unrealistic because they're using like, you know, expensive
It's
lighting
not
and
really,
stuff.
yeah.
But
a lot of people don't know that. We know that, but a lot of other people don't know
it's
that.
like, well, I didn't know that from the start. I had to
Yeah.
like look into it, but I think that when you look at like a mirrorless camera like this, the quality threshold is now getting so like razor thin where it's like you just can't even really tell like that camera will do the job for most people, most clients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, are they really gonna say, "Oh, I like the A7S III better than A7 III" if they don't even know what those things are, like what the differences are? You know what I mean? So like, I think in that regard, the size of cameras, right? They're getting so small now and providing like FX3, fucking crazy. In that, like a movie was shot. I know that's like, it's like the same with shot on iPhone. A movie was shot on it, but it's like, you know, $85,000 glass on it. But either way, the form factor just keeps getting smaller and smaller every year.
For sure.
Do you think that that's like one day just gonna like, I don't even know, like the idea of a camera will just like go away, or like will just like lenses won't even be a thing anymore? Like I don't even like, I fear that almost there won't be a body with a lens anymore. It'll just be like a little object that you can get whatever feeling out of, like focally.
It's hard to say. I think there will be a sector of the market and people who pay for that kind of stuff. I think there will be.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, there are clients who, like you just said, they don't know ass from their elbow. They don't know what camera does what, but they know the name and they heard the name like Red or ARRI, for example, and they'll just pay to have that because they know that's good quality and it looks good on set. They could say they use it and they'll pay the big bucks for it, which, you know, a lot of the stuff, even if you shoot on Red or ARRI, that doesn't mean it's going to come out good, right? Depends on the glass, how you light it, like all that stuff. We can get into that, but
trust me, it's on the list. All the equipment stuff is coming.
I mean, dude, you could rig, which you had before, right? You could rig the A7 III with a V-mount and a map box, and it looks legit to a client, right? But meanwhile, it's an A7 III, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but like it looks big. So So I think like big cameras will still be a thing.
Yeah, I got you.
Know? But I think, you know, it'd be nice if the form factor keeps getting smaller because, I mean, for companies like us, it's great to not have like a freaking 30, 40 pound rig. Just, it's, you know, it's annoying to deal with.
And like traveling with it and all that stuff. How did you secure sustainable clients? Because, you know, you have some clients that just come and go, right? But then you have some that stay.
We get the one-offs, we get the retainers.
So how do you find the right ones that are like going to give you business on a yearly scale?
Doing everything for free. Don't make $1 off of anything. Just be free shoots all the time.
You hear that, folks?
You hear that? Just free.
Free.
Free. Say it again.
How do you sustain like, you know, clients that will give you consistent business? Like, how do you find the right clients that'll give you like, you know, business on a yearly scale, or, you know, just year by year, just giving you business?
I mean, for me personally, has always been word of mouth through other clients. Like when we do general advertising and stuff like that, they're usually just like your one and done kind of clients, and they're just haven't been like worthwhile. The best clients I've gotten is through word of mouth through other people, because it's good, because those clients that you've worked with, you know their personality, you know them, and you trust them, right? You know, you've been working with them for a while or whatever, and, you know, they introduce you to your friend, to their friend or business, and, you know, based off of that client's personality that you're working with, you kind of have a gauge of what the other client will be. Obviously, it's not every time, but you get an idea for it. And maintaining those clients is constantly maintaining a high level of work, good work ethic, like we were talking about before, great personality, and, you know, sometimes working with them if they can't afford certain things 1 month, kind of dialing back and giving them what you think is fair for both parties, and just kind of working with them and maintaining a good business relationship, you know?
Cool. So, but it's mainly like the businesses, right, that will give you that like consistency, not like individuals.
More often than not, from what I've seen and what I've dealt with, it's been the businesses.
Yeah, gotcha. So, this office is relatively new, right? This space.
We've been in it about 4 years now. It's going to be 4 years in November.
What office did you start in, and why are you in this one specifically?
This is the first
This is
office.
the first
This
office.
is the first office. I've been here 4 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
4 years. You're just like, the walls are starting to speak to me.
I mean, technically, my first office was my bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As you know, as most people start out, they start in their house, which is great. And I also know people who literally just work out of their house their entire life doing this kind of stuff in their 1 or 2 man band kind of operation, which is great. But yeah, we've been in this spot 4 years, and this is our first like official one, and it's gone through some renovations and changes within the years. But yeah,
A lot of painting. I saw some
painting
painting on the Instagram.
We got the right color
look.
now. When we came in here, it was just like mustard yellow, ugly ass shit.
Not speaking video agency at all.
Not
here.
speaking pirate ship, dude.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
speaking pirate ship or video agency.
Or anything.
Yeah, not like media. Just it wasn't it.
So the gray was it. Why gray?
I like darker tones, pirate ship tones, whatever you want to call it.
Like the wood too.
The wood, yeah, the wood, the earth tones, big earth tone
You
guy.
already
This
know
guy,
I know
big
all
earth
about
tone
that.
guy.
You know, if you
Yep.
watch my first episode, you'd see.
Yep. So at first we had painted it like a lighter gray. We made the mistake of not putting a big enough sample on the wall, so we put a small square and like, yeah, that looks good. Didn't really look good, was too light, so we ended up repainting to the darker gray, which we love now, and yeah, the whole office.
And I see like that wall with the wood. Was that there or no?
Nah.
So that
Everything you see in here almost fell off. Was not the way it was.
So how was that? That was probably a bitch to install, right?
The wood?
Yeah, the wood is.
Yeah, it definitely it took a while. It took about like 2 days. Well, it was one guy, 2 days.
Okay.
But I mean, painting everything was
It was just you guys.
Yeah, it was just us guys. It was a nightmare. You can actually still see the original paint on one of the closets, the inside of the closet.
Yeah, you showed me. It is a mustard.
Mustard, gross yellow. But yeah, we redid this whole back room, all new lighting, painted the walls, made it more of a production studio. You know.
Okay, so being in the video, so you would say Blacksail is how old?
It's gonna be 4 years. Actually, sorry, no, we've been in this office almost 4 years. I technically started the business in 2018. So what is that? Almost 6 years. But like, Blacksail really didn't start until we got into this office. Like, it really didn't kick off until then.
So now being apt to like, how the business, side works and stuff, and seeing, I'm sure you see other businesses that are doing, you're kind of watching what other people are doing. Is there a sort of need to like keep with the times with like, because I know clients also want to do like trendy stuff and like want to hire video agencies that
100%.
that like have, whether it's gear or like the style or whatever, like you have to keep with the times somehow, right?
Yeah.
Like
you don't have to transform your whole business into like what the new trend is, right? You don't have to do all that, but you do have to adapt to certain things. I know personal people and also businesses that have not done that, and they've just, stuck to their guns and done like the old way of doing things or whatever that they think is best no matter what. And you see them a lot of times not getting any more work, and they hit you up and like, hey, do you have any extra work to help out? I'm kind of dead right now. And like, in your head, you know exactly why that is.
You have to be adaptive like that.
In this business, I think in most businesses you have to be to a degree, but in this one specifically, things are changing every single day. New gear, new tech, new types of clients, right? How things are shot, trends. Like, you have to be adaptable to all that kind of stuff.
It's not like for example, like a landscaping business where it's just kind of like those. I know businesses like landscaping and masonry, they don't even have Instagrams, but they're making a killing just because it's like a different.
There are a lot of those
industry.
businesses that they're self-sufficient at a certain point, because I mean, landscaping, for example, you're gonna get a contract for X amount of months or years for certain clients, and you just send the crew and go. And like, yeah, you might have to upgrade some trucks or equipment at some point down the line.
But you're not going to reinvent the wheel of how to landscape something.
No,
yeah.
But with that being said, if you're a landscaping business and you start coming in with the trends for social media, like that could be a multi-million-dollar business overnight. Who knows?
Exactly. So I stalked your social media a little bit, and I had some links here.
Oh boy!
I want to show you.
Oh boy!
Because
are you going to show them on screen or?
Yeah, like while I'm talking about it.
Yeah, all right, okay, cool. That'd be dope.
So we had the Inspire 3. Where is this thing? Because
J Drift's GT3 in the back. Yeah.
I haven't seen this thing anywhere.
That thing is long gone, my friend.
Why?
It's in the sea.
What?
No, I'm kidding. No, pirate reference.
With the ship.
With the ship.
The Kraken.
The Kraken.
So what happened?
So that was bought as a business venture, more or less, because at the time I had wanted to get into more aerial stuff, and there's definitely like a huge market for it. And the Inspire 2 specifically really is like a two-man operation. You have someone who flies it and someone who operates the camera, like it, and then you can get really like precise stuff out of it. And that was bought out of a business venture to try and get more just aerial and drone work, and it just didn't pan out the way that I wanted. And also, the tech in the Inspire 2 is very good for like what that drone is, but also it's a pain in the ass to work with. What a lot of people don't know about that, I don't know much about the Inspire 3 because I haven't looked into it too much, and also it's expensive. But with that, right, the Inspire 2, if one of the components isn't updated properly, all of the other components don't work properly. And what that means is, even if your controller is firmware version 1 and everything else, is firmware version 2 and everything else is firmware version 1, they won't communicate.
Wow.
And you have to update every single piece individually. Controllers, monitors, lenses, everything. And the thing with that is that it did have raw capabilities, which was Cinema DNG, if I'm not mistaken, but the profile, I mean, to actually make that work in post was a pain in the ass, because it just, imagine like a 1 second clip, 24 frames. You're going to get 24 like individual like files that have to be stitched together for that one thing. It was a pain in the ass.
Wow.
But the image that came out of it was absolutely incredible. Obviously, like, you know, you could shoot ProRes or whatever, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, that was, when that first came out, that was bar none like one of the craziest things ever.
So you sold it.
Ended up selling it. That was, well, part of the reason too is I bought that, if I'm not mistaken, either late.
Whoa! First voice crack.
Whoa! You heard that?
First,
pause.
Get some water, yeah.
Pause. Pause.
First voice crack of the episode.
Damn, bro. Did you have any on the last episode? Anybody voice crack?
I definitely did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
from me.
All right. Anyway, so if I'm not mistaken, I bought that either late 2019 or early 2020. And then the other reason really why I sold it is COVID hit and we were very slow. So I just, you know, I wanted to get money about it. We weren't doing anything with it. So it was just, that was another, honestly, big part of the reason for getting rid of it.
Did you lose a lot of money on it?
No, actually, I pretty much bought it for, well, we did do a few jobs with it, made a little bit of money from it. So I pretty much, like, it was break even at that point. But it was a great piece of tech. The Inspire 3, I would love to try out, but also like the Mavic 2 Zoom, which you have, the Mavic 3 regular and the Pro and Cine are incredible.
Awesome.
Even the Mini 3 Pro is pretty incredible. Obviously, it's not the same quality as those, but the Mavic 3 Pro and Cine versions are like phenomenal. So if you're a one-man band person, like, that drone is absolutely nuts.
Well, I think it's interesting that, like, you have two operators here. Were you mainly doing the camera or the drone?
I was mainly doing the camera. I had another brother, Taylor, who was doing the drone work.
So, obviously the camera's probably more interesting work because you're actually filming what's being, you know, what you're filming, you know.
I mean, it depends, because the pilot of the drone can do, like, you know, when you're communicating, you know, they have fun doing the maneuvers that they do.
Yeah.
So it depends. But like for me, yeah, I like operating the drone and seeing the subject and filming the subject.
What's like the battery life on that?
Not great. So
Not
it takes
great.
that one specifically takes TB50 batteries, and there's 2 of them. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you only got like 20, 25 minutes out of it. But that drone draws a lot of power too. So if you're far out and you got like 20% battery left and you're not already bringing it back, like, it's going to, like, yeah, you need to be really careful with those. And also, like, they're a lot of money, so you can't really fuck around with that stuff.
Yeah.
Falls out of the sky. Also, like, if it falls out of the sky, forget about like it breaking, you know, having to buy another one. But if it falls on a car or person, like,
It's heavy.
that's a problem, you know.
Yeah, stuck in a tree like I did with the Mavic 2 Zoom.
And you had to get an arborist to fucking
$400
$400,
cash.
bro. That's a business.
Yeah.
That's a business.
Yeah. Just saving drones from trees.
Climbing trees, saving drones.
So we have here social media stalker number 2.
That was a long time. That was 2017.
MMA reality show?
Yeah.
What MMA reality show was this?
This
and how'd you get it?
So this was a pilot. So we shot it to pitch it because there were investors for the project, and we shot it to pitch it to these investors to try and start an actual show. And it ended up being like a 8 to 10 minute pilot, I think. It was called Fight Life, if I'm not mistaken, LYFE, Fight Life. And we had filmed that for about like a week and a half, going around to different gyms, different MMA fighters, capturing them training, doing interviews, and then leading up to the eventual fight night, which I think was like a Saturday or Sunday or something.
So like, how did they reach out to you to get it, like this specific
So
gig?
I knew the owner of one of the guys that's in that photo. I'm still friends with today, and I still do work for. He owns an energy drink company called Tiger Life, and he knows the other 2 people in that photo that run. It was called Triton Fights. I don't know if it's called that now, but it was called Triton Fights. So my friend Frank, who owns the energy drink company, knows those people, and they want to start this show. And I was doing video stuff for Frank for a while, and he's like, "Hey, we got to do this." I mean, it was killer, honestly.
It's fun for sure.
It was a lot of fun. Fortunately, didn't end up going anywhere like a lot of stuff does. That's
Yeah.
something you just got to roll with the punches on
Yeah.
in this business. But it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience and a great learning experience too.
I mean, MMA is already like, it's like a hot term, right? So like I had
Yeah.
no idea to leave it on here. Like, did you meet any like cool MMA fighters?
So this wasn't MMA in the sense of like your Conor McGregor's. This was like your fighters that were leading up to get into the pro
Gotcha.
MMA. But a lot of these guys were really, really good.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like very impressive. But it's cool because there was never really, I don't even think there is still a reality show that documents all these lower level fighters that are working up towards wanting to be on the pro stage. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm sure you can see what's on the screen here.
That shit was dope.
So you have, for those who are listening, we have an Inspire 2 suction mounted on the Jeep here.
Mm-hmm.
What
Genius,
was the
bro.
thought process
My
behind
genius knows no bounds sometimes.
So what was the thought process and kind of installation? Like, how'd you like find parts to mount this on and stuff, or was it very like easy?
It was easy. I kind of, at that time, I knew what suction cups and magic arms and stuff I needed. I'd actually saw a while before that, someone had mounted their Inspire to the rear of their car doing stuff on a track. And I was like, wow, that's interesting, because the best thing about like DJI products like that is, like, you know, we do with the 4D, like everything's like on a controller. It's super easy. So back when I had the Jeep and that kind of stuff, I didn't have like the gear that I have now, right? So to mount the Inspire on that, I had full control of literally everything at my fingertips, the same way I do with the 4D now. But back then, when I think I was using an A7S II and I would have to HDMI into the, you know, into the cabin and do some other stuff, this was a great solution. And also the camera quality was incredible, even just like ProRes 422 or XQ, whatever it was. And also, like, you know, I could get different focal length shots pretty easily. So it was very beneficial.
How many shoots did you do on it with the hood like this?
I filmed H2O 26, 7.
What lens is
16
on
or
that?
17. That well, it was DJI's. They have the 24-50. I think an 18 or something. That one was the 24 that's on there, I'm pretty sure. But I had all their lenses at the time. But I filmed a lot of H2O, one of the H2Os with that. I filmed like a few features with it. But the thing, as you can see there, is that it draws a lot of attention.
Yeah.
It looks like an alien on top of the car. Also obstructs the view, so I do not recommend it unless you can like fully mount it on the front.
Yeah.
If you use it on the rear, it's fine, but like hood mounted, it's definitely
It does look
a big
sketch.
obstruction. And also, like,
Sketch.
yeah, I mean, it was on there.
Yeah?
Like it wasn't moving. That I wasn't concerned about that, but it definitely drew attention to it more than I would like. for sure.
I don't know with me, like it's probably just me. Like whenever I see suction mount stuff, I always think it's just never secure. But it is, right? But it's like I just always think to myself, I'm like, is that really secure? It's not like bolted on. It's literally
Well,
just
obviously
suction.
the bigger circumference suction cups are safer, obviously. But whenever you're using suction cups, you should obviously have safety measures in place to where if they fall off or whatever. I mean, really, the right way to rig things is with, you know, steel tubing and specific products. But suction cups are definitely very reliable. You just have to know what you're doing with them. And for example, like if a car is outside baking in 110-degree sun for like 6 hours, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna put this suction cup right on here, and then it just kind of like mushes into the clear coat and then the paint, and then the ring actually that the suction cup makes won't, like, it's in the clear. You're like, you're not gonna buff it out. So like you need to make sure the paint's cool. You need to know what car you're dealing with and how flexible that paint is. A lot of times what we do, because Toyota paint, for example, is very brittle, I guess you'd say, or not great. So it can chip easily and do all this kind of stuff. But a lot of times what we do is we'll put like a saran wrap underneath to protect the paint, and then put the suction cup on that so it protects it. And there are also certain cars and paints that you shouldn't put it on, like matte paint, not a matte vinyl, like actual matte paint from the factory. I would never ever put a suction cup on, because the thing with matte paint from a factory is that if you fuck that paint up, that's an expensive fix, and you can't just like buff that out. Like that gets repainted.
The whole panel.
That whole panel. And sometimes with matte paint, if you can't blend it too, that whole side's got to get fixed.
Fuck. That's crazy.
A body shop guy might call me out on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. And even with vinyl wraps too, like you gotta be careful.
So you gotta research onto what the paint is of the client's car before shooting.
You should have a general idea. You don't have to go like too in depth with it, but like also don't be stupid with it. Don't put suction cups on, you know, sections to where you see it's like rusted or clear coats peeling, or like, you know, vinyl wraps coming off.
Also, like the weight of what's on the suction matters too, or no? Like what's on top of it? Like,
yeah,
for example,
definitely.
Like
well, you should have. Well, the thing with that is you should have other supports, so you're not just relying on that one. Yeah, I'm saying
like not even just like that one family, but like the damage that it does to the paint matters on the weight that's being put on the paint, or is it just if it's suctioned, it's already fucking the paint up?
I mean, I'm not totally sure, but theoretically, right?
I'm like
no, but I think you're right. Like if something's 100 pounds going down the suction cup, it would technically apply more pressure. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you should always have other safety options and other supports. Definitely.
We got a little video here.
Oh, we got a video? Dropping the washer machine on these bitches, dude. Dropping the washing machine.
What is this?
On these bitches.
What is going on here?
What do you want to know, dude? Where do I start?
It's apparently a commercial here, and we have a huge rig.
All right, let me run this for you. So we were doing for a while a series of ads for a warranty company. So we didn't want to do like the run-of-the-mill, like just general like BS of, you know, oh, choose our insurance company because it's the best, right? We wanted to do like whimsical, funny, like just eye-catching stuff. So one of the warranties was like if your key fob from your car got broken or whatever damage, like they would replace it on this warranty. So we're like, bet, we'll drop a fucking washing machine on it. Why not? Yeah. And then we did another one where we dropped a 500-pound boulder to the windshield of a car.
Who's paying for this crane?
Dude, I mean, the client's paid for it, bro. But and they did really well. They were eye-catching because within the first 2-3 seconds, you see a washing machine drop or you see a boulder go through a windshield. You're like, oh, I'm interested. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they were eye-catching.
What camera did you use for that?
This was a mix of Sony FX6, a couple Sony A7S's, and one of my friends, Anthony, has a Kinefinity Mavo LF, I believe.
And did you have like a pretty tight focal length so you can get like close up on the...
We got all the angles. Oh, yeah. Wide, medium, tight, super tight, drone, gimbal, everything.
In one drop?
One drop. Yeah, because I mean, so with that one, I believe, we had a second washing machine. But really, like with this kind of stuff, you want to do it once, and that's it. So there's actually a lot of pre-production that goes into it, and the safety of rigging up the boulder, the washing machine,
Yeah.
what that looks like, right? The surrounding areas, what the camera angles are going to be like, what the danger zone is of where it's being dropped and how far things can like splash out. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but it was a lot of fun.
Looks like fun.
Oh,
Looks
it
like
was
one
sick.
of the more interesting shoots. Right?
Definitely.
We got another one. Another
Hit me.
social media stock.
Hate me, bro.
2020.
Damn, the Rig
we
Wheels
got the
cloud mount.
old rig up in here, brother.
The
So,
OG. Rig
I
Wheels
wanted
is a
to
great
know-
company, by the way.
I wanted to know, like, how long did it take to like hone in this setup, like, to how it is here? Because you said this is custom, right?
Everything on that is, well, the rig is custom. The Rig Wheels, they sold that cloud mount.
Why did you have the Ninja here?
Is
Is that?
no, that one's no.
Is
I was actually thinking. No, that one's a different one. So the reason I had the Ninja mounted on there was so shit. There was a reason for it. Give me like 3 seconds to remember this. I did that because it was to trigger. Something?
It's got to be something. Because I'm like, how are you gonna see now?
Was it to trigger the Sony? What the fuck did I do this for? There was a very specific reason.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because my friend Gerald told me to do this. Oh my god, what was the reason? Cut! No, hold on.
You could always remember. You could always come back to it if you remember.
Yeah, I mean, if I looked at my messages, I could figure it out. But I think it was to.
There's another picture. You need that.
So that must have been.
You got a little remote up there. I don't know what the fuck that was.
No, it wasn't for 4K. It might have been to trigger the Sony. I'll remember at some point.
Yeah. All right.
Cut!
Is this fire real in this commercial?
Hell yeah, it's real.
All of it?
All of it's real. I think we still have the propane
You had a flame?
tank.
What?
Some
You have
here. Oh, a little canister.
And a gun?
Huh?
Like a
gun?
Like a you had like a match with a propane tank? Like how did you do it?
No, so it's like a regular, like, you know, you spin the knob, and you light it, and it's a torch, basically. And the fire starts, and then we sprayed Pam. Shout out
Yeah,
Pam.
It's up there, right?
I'm pretty sure it still is up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sprayed it, and, you know, do it in a controlled environment with fire extinguishers, right? And then yeah, and then we sprayed
All
it.
practical.
Yeah, we have BTS of that. I could send you that.
Sick. Yeah, show me. That's like real.
That's
right there?
all real. All real,
You
no
could
VFX.
see, like, all the particles.
Everything
of the
is real.
fire.
So the particle, that extra, those little like particles around it was the Pam spray.
Wait, let me go back.
Yeah. Run that back. Shout out Rita Fine Meals. They just opened, I think they're like, I don't even know, 16th store in Farmingdale. Well, 16th store on the island. Latest one's Farmingdale.
16 stores inside Farmingdale. Like that. Yeah, see those like
Yeah, that's all the cooking spray.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
It's so crazy how the power of practical effects.
Practical effects look sick, man.
I think they will always just look better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
If
especially
they're done
now.
right, for sure.
Especially now, because like it's a
Well,
whole
a lot
nother
of times
talk
if
for
you don't do
movies.
VFX properly, like it looks like shit.
Fucking, so you look at Marvel, fucking.
Bro. Yeah.
You look at like movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, even. You
Yeah.
know, like Davy Jones, one of the best CGI
It really-
characters ever.
Dude, have you ever seen the behind the scenes from that? It's
Mm-hmm.
fucking crazy.
Because that was actually quality. You know.
Yeah,
Now it's
I
just
feel like they
quantity.
don't really do that stuff anymore. You know,
Yeah, it's a fucking being a dead horse, bro. Everyone's so sick of it.
it's ridiculous. What else you got?
Weld
Weld wheels.
wheel shoot.
Yep.
So did they hit you up to do this? Like, how did you get this?
Yeah, I've known a contact who worked for another wheel company for a long time. Ended up just moving to a different company, which is, you know, has Weld, ADV1, and a few other brands under it. So, you know, being friends with him for a long time, he got me into this and doing
Looks sick.
advertisements and product shots for wheels specifically.
Were
So,
you on a gimbal here?
yes. Yeah, for certain shots. Some was gimbal, some was slider, some was handheld, tripod, just a mixture of stuff. Just really to capture the fine details of the wheels up close that you don't really like see in a normal feature shoot, you know?
Yeah, because it's just literally the wheel itself in a studio.
So this is like, you see all the curves, the concave, the bolts, like all the fine
complexities.
details. Yes.
Cool shit. All done in this room.
All done in this room.
Even
all
the
done
fire.
in the pirate ship. Even the fire.
Oh, pirate ship.
Yeah.
It's a pirate ship.
Pirate ship.
Not a studio. So this was fucking crazy. And
Hell
this has
yeah,
been,
that was fucking sick.
This has been like
That's
I
been
would say
shared
a
so many
highlight
times,
of
bro.
your career, right?
Yeah,
Doing this.
that was awesome.
This was you and Crispy?
Me,
right?
Chris, and my friend Wes. Yeah.
So was there like you had two guys in the car, and was there a dedicated like focus puller to this too, or like?
There's just a driver and myself. That's it, because there's no back seats in the Mark V.
So you're doing the camera movement and you're doing the focus?
So for that, because the cars are moving at a high speed, and I mean, even though it is a straight line, like roll racing, like you got to concentrate on so many things. So that was actually just set to infinity focus at like, I think it was like F12 or F16.
What does that mean, infinity focus?
Infinity focus. So like the focus is just as far as it can be.
Okay.
So like you set it to infinity. It's literally the infinity ring on like a lens for those who don't know, and like it literally is the furthest distance possible.
So F12 is the furthest?
No. So infinity is the furthest focal length,
Oh,
and then
okay,
F12 for f-stop, just so everything is in focus. So I know for a fact, even though it might not be the most appealing shot, I know for a fact everything's in focus, and I don't have to fully focus on the shot. But yeah, this was crazy. So that Mark V is owned by Petrolworks. I think it was like 700 or 800 horsepower at the time. And they don't make tow hitches for that car. So Mo over at Petrolworks, I told him, I was like, yo, we're covering this event because he runs his cars at this event too. Like, we need something fast that'll keep up with all these other cars that are going 120, 40, 60 miles an hour, right? Yeah. So he made a custom tow hitch for the back, and then we had one for the front also. All custom tow hitch, and then we rigged that bitch out. Dude. And that thing, I think I'm not mistaken, I think it was 140 with that. Dude,
whose equipment is this? Is this yours or Chris's? Or is it mixed?
So at the time, I didn't have the motor crane. So we used Chris's motor crane arm and speed rail, and that was my Movi and Red setup.
Movi is
the stabilizer, the gimbal.
That just seems so stressful when you're going through that.
You know what was crazy is that when we rigged it up, we did like a dry run with it, just, went 60 miles an hour, like down the strip, seeing how everything was going to do and hold up. And we're like, okay, everything's good. Yeah. And then, the first run that you do with the, the first car, you're going like 120, you're like, is this going to hold? This is sketchy. But once you do it like 2 or 3 times, you're like, all right, I mean, it's in there. I mean, there's safety cables and everything, so nothing would happen, but like, it's scary. It's a lot of expensive gear.
Did you have a plan going into this? Like this is all intricately like rigged out. Like were you like working on like a plan to like how to rig this out like weeks before?
Well, so Chris, who brought the motor crane, the speed rail kit, I showed him the car that we were mounting this on, and he's done this a lot of times. I also have experience with it too. So we kind of knew where the mounting points would be, and really like the possibilities in the sense of the gear that we were using and what we could do mounting wise with the gear that we had. So we had a good idea. There was a lot of pre-production into it, but that was a lot of fun.
So crazy.
That was crazy.
So tell me, what are these cables doing? Like,
which ones?
Let's see.
Can you turn it a little bit?
I'm trying to find like a good shot of the.
On the lenses, or
like, no, these Of course I can't. Like, did you have like you had like a harness going on the car, right?
The straps.
Like, yeah, the straps, like the black straps.
The black straps they're a safety mechanism, but also they keep pressure on the suction cups, so they don't like. I mean, those ones, I think those are 10-inch suction cups. They're not really gonna pop off, but it's just extra safety.
What's most likely to fail in this whole thing?
On that whole thing, the thing most likely to fail would probably be.
I feel like, dude, like these parts, it's just kind of like clamps, right? Like when you're actually rigging the camera out and stuff, is like I feel like that's like the least secure, right? All that
so
stuff.
the way that movie works, there's you have the flow cine tranquilizer. So you have the motor crane arm, and you have the flow cine tranquilizer, which takes out the micro vibrations, right?
Yeah.
And you have what's called for the movie, you have what's called a Ninja Star plate it's called the toad that connects to it.
Yes.
The toad is the mounting point, right? So the Ninja Star is really just connected by 4 bolts, and then the toad that goes into the Ninja Star is connected by like 4 like really small, like thin bolts. And you're like, is this gonna hold? And then the movie pops into it and just locks. If I had to say something would fail, it would probably be that, even though there's safety cables, so if it does break off, the gimbal would just hold onto the arm and it would be fine. But if I had to say something would fail, it'd be that. But I mean, people have ran that shit for years and it's been totally fine. But it's crazy how
like, when you look at it,
you're like,
is this really
gonna work?
Yeah. Crazy.
That was fun though.
Yeah, I mean, high risk, high reward, I guess.
Hell yeah,
you know
dude.
what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
All right, we got a very special segment coming up. We have equipment now.
Equipment.
I know everyone loves equipment.
They love gear, bro.
And we have probably a lot of, I would say, deep-seated opinions on equipment.
Is this rapid fire? Is this what are we doing?
So no, this is not the rapid fire part yet.
I'm excited.
Don't
I'm sorry,
spoil
dude.
it.
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so you have the 4D now as your main go-to camera.
Yes.
What was the draw to it? Like, one aspect, what was the thing? Like, was it the whole inbuilt gimbal that it has? Like, what made you buy it?
The ecosystem and like ease of use for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it like when we do the rollers, like everything, the controllers there, the joysticks, the whole camera controls there. Like you can do everything pretty seamlessly. And DJI's wireless transmission is insane, obviously, from their drones and other things that they've put out. So the draw to it was really like the whole package, and also, I mean, it's a lot of things, really. It's the gimbal all in one, the internal NDs. Huh?
It's a little heavy, right?
Not as heavy as the red Gemini on a Movi Pro. That
Right.
shit's like another 10 pounds. So I'm good.
Yeah.
I love the 4D.
Yeah, no, it seems to make life so much easier for you.
It's fucking sick.
So, how do you decide which cameras are best fit for a particular project?
Which cameras are best fit
Yeah,
for
like
a particular project?
Because you have multiple cameras, right? You have the Red, you have the FX3, you have the DJI. You know what I mean? Like, what is like, what are you valuing in like a setup when like you look at a project and you're like, which camera should I choose for this? You know.
For recently, a lot of stuff that we do, speed and efficiency is very important because you're limited on time. So like I've said before, the 4D is killer on that. When you're on like a controlled set where you have time, you know, days to do stuff, set stuff up, lighting, you know, you can take your time and you could set up the Red with a proper follow focus and cinema lenses and dollies and all that kind of stuff. So it comes down to budget and time and what's available to you. I mean, more often than not, the Sonys are more than good enough to do like 80% of the stuff that you need to, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, generally, like on a lot of stuff recently, speed and efficiency is great, and the 4D kills it at that.
I think a lot of just like in general, like companies are releasing products that have that in mind.
Definitely.
Like speed and efficiency, form factor, all that stuff, weight.
Definitely.
Is a camera that you absolutely hated and why?
Camera I absolutely hated that I've owned?
Yes. In your experience, you've owned it and you just fucking hated it and you got rid of it.
See, I didn't hate any because I make good informed decisions, bro.
Oh,
I
shut
like all my
up.
cameras. I like all my cameras.
All right, fine. What are some cameras?
No. Any GoPro.
Yeah?
Any GoPro.
Really?
Trash. Horrible. I'll fucking die on this hill, dude. I will die on this hill. DJI Osmo Action, king over GoPro.
I see more GoPros, though, out there.
I don't care.
Well,
Trash.
shouldn't there be a reason?
Because, I mean, for a long time, they were really like the only action camera doing good tech, cool stuff. The marketing's crazy for them. They had a great like market segment for that kind of stuff. Great ads, and you know, for a long time they were awesome, but they just like stopped like developing. There wasn't really any like newer tech that was mind blowing. Their cameras overheat. They're unreliable. They stop recording like at random times for no reason. And
like
the image quality isn't. I've had experiences.
Yeah,
What are you
sounds
gonna
like
say?
you're
Yeah, I've had
speaking from
experiences.
experiences.
And you know, every camera has their quirks, but GoPro. I'll die on this fucking hill, bro. Trash.
All right. I mean, yeah, you told me you just get an Action 3.
And has it been great?
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, I've had, for example, I've had 2 Osmo Actions running time lapses since January. What are we in? We're about to be in
August.
September. January, February,
Wait, nonstop?
8 months. All I've had to do is swap batteries, like because it's going to a V mount, and I'm just swapping out the batteries. 8 months they've been going, no hiccups,
Really?
none whatsoever.
Wow.
In snow, rain, 100-degree heat, no issues. GoPro would never do that,
That's
dude. It would
sick.
explode.
Explode. Okay. I mean,
it counts as a camera, no?
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
You think there's any like go-to beginner camera? And I know this is like, you know, a stupid question, but like, because this depends on your needs. But like, what is like that one camera? You're like, you know, this is like if you were to like start from 0, what would it be? What camera? If you had like a, you know, smaller budget in mind.
I mean, you can get some. I mean, the A7 III you probably get used for what, like $1,000 now?
Yeah, probably
Maybe
less.
like maybe a little less. I mean, bang for buck, that thing's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, people are always like, yeah, get like a Canon Rebel, like T5,
No,
I,
Rebels,
whatever.
fuck
But
that.
I mean, like, sure, it's cheap and it's easy to get into, but having something like an A7 III, you can see all the features, you can screw around with stuff, you can actually like really learn certain things
Oh yeah.
that wouldn't be in those other cameras. And, you know, you'll then be used to, when you upgrade, you'll then be used to all those features already.
I tell that to everyone because this camera I've started with no knowledge and I've been able to slowly rig it out and see all these different things with it. And now like I'm so seasoned and I know it. And like now when I move up to, let's say, like FX3, FX6, like I know
You
what
have a
everything
great
does.
baseline already.
Yeah, and it's like that camera has helped me learn every aspect of video production because it's capable of doing all the things that a normal camera would be able to do. Obviously, there's some limitations, like, you know, it doesn't have like, you know, it's an audio jack, audio jack, like it does a micro HDMI still. There's some things you can't, like the 30-minute record limit.
Right.
But like overall, you could learn all the fundamentals of it, and you don't need anything more fancy than
But
this.
all those quirks, what you end up doing is finding workarounds for them, which then you can use that knowledge
Like
to
the
implement to
Ninja.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Ninja or, big brain.
Oh man.
Big
dude.
brain.
Takes a lot to be this big up
Dude,
here.
genius, bro. Genius.
Favorite camera? Doesn't have to be owned. Favorite camera of all time? you see
Favorite camera of all time.
It doesn't even have to be the best one. It could just be a favorite of yours that it could be for whatever reason.
I mean, ARRI ALEXA is definitely up there for me. I love to own one day.
You've used or?
I've used like briefly, but I know other people have them. I've obviously seen images from them with a variety of different lenses, and it's like
Sick.
It's really awesome. The color science of it, like you could distinctly pick out ARRI footage from anything else.
And I mean, every movie uses the Alexa, right? Mainly.
Yeah, I mean, people use like the Venice, the Sony Venice, the Sony
Yeah.
Burano, I think it is now, or whatever it is.
Well, the Burano's the smaller Venice.
The
basically,
Burano's the smaller
Yeah.
Venice. Not many big movies use red. They'll use ARRI's.
Yeah, ARRI. They have the Alexa Minis.
The Alexa Minis, yep.
35, I think is called.
There's an Alexa 35. There's an Alexa Mini. There's a bunch.
Alexa Minis I see like as B cams too a lot on like ARRI Alexa sets, but yeah, ARRI's that's like how much? Like 80,000.
I think used you're looking for like a Mini is probably like 80.
What separates the value that much, like that it can do? Is it the image only, or is it like the capabilities? Like what makes it so
It's for sure the image, but also it's one of those things in this industry that they've been around forever, and it's the name and the market value for them. Are they worth that much money? That's really, you know, up to the market and what that says. But I mean, the image from them is bar none, probably one of, if not the best.
But for what reason? What exactly is the best about it?
What makes the image great?
Yeah, what is it?
The detail, the skin tones, a lot of cameras now, they're just and lenses combined too. They're just like too sharp, right? It looks too digital.
Yeah.
ARRI's look straight film, straight out of the box. You know, a little tweaking here and there. The sensor's incredible. It's, I mean, the all-around package.
What can it shoot up to? Do you know?
Depends on the model.
Depends
Some
on
of
the
them can only still do, or some of them are 1080, but there are others that do 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like our movie shot on like probably more, right? Like 8K.
More what?
Like resolution.
No, it depends. A lot of movies will shoot 8K for the sense of being able to reframe in post what they want it to look like and retain that detail.
So a lot of movies are shot on 4K, you're saying?
A lot of movies are, I mean, depends on the project, but yeah, a lot can be shot on 4K, definitely.
Nice. I didn't know that. I thought it was like completely different, like really upscale, like, resolution.
No, depends on the project, but.
Gotcha. If you had 3 items to expense for your setup, camera and lens aside, so you have the camera and the lens, 3 extra expenses. Doesn't have to be a specific product, but like a genre of products. What are those 3 things that you're going to buy? Let's say you're on an island. You're like, okay, I need to make money doing videography, and there's a bunch of people that need it. What are 3 things you're bringing aside from the camera and the lens?
A GoPro. No, I was just fucking
dude,
kidding. No,
you'll die on the island.
I'll die on the island. What are the 3 things I'm bringing?
Aside from the camera and lens that are pivotal in making money.
Maybe not pivotal in making money, but saving my back would be an easy rig, for sure.
Okay.
Carrying that shit. Because if you got something that's weighing 20, 30 pounds rigged out, I mean, you're going to want something that helps you out.
But you just have a camera and lens.
I just have a camera and lens.
We're not even, you have no audio equipment, nothing. It's just the camera and the lens.
Oh, I see.
That's what I'm saying.
To make something.
I'm like, an easy rig, I don't know.
Okay,
an easy
okay,
rig
okay,
is
okay,
like
okay,
an
okay.
extra.
Okay. To make something. To make something then and there. Shotgun mic, for sure.
Okay.
You need some sort of audio, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have an audio guy, I mean, you can mic people up yourself, but run and gun, shotgun.
Yeah, we're talking
Yep.
one product, you know?
Yep. ND filters.
Okay.
Need that.
I like that, yeah.
Need that.
Last one, this is it. You can't bring anything else.
Am I posting on social? Because I'll need a BTS cam.
Ideally, yeah, you'll be posting on social. Think about it. You gotta think about low light situation. Think about everything. You got one left. What is it gonna be? So you have a camera lens, you have a mic, and you have
the Nanlite Force of 500 beam, brought to you by Nanlite Global and Nanlite USA. Fantastic product. Can be run off of V-mount batteries if you don't have power, like if you're on an island. And yeah, this is a great product, man.
Yeah, except you don't have outlets.
But it runs off V-mount batteries, so you just gotta get V-mounts.
Those will die.
Don't.
Solar power.
Solar power.
So
you probably could.
So that's the 3.
I mean, dude, you could make moonlight out of this.
So what was it? The
shotgun mic, ND filters,
and that.
Yeah,
Okay,
you need a light. You need a light. I think
Not
that's
a
pretty
gimbal,
solid.
though?
Nah, you don't need a gimbal.
You don't need it.
You don't need it.
It's just this is like the essentials.
Yeah, the essentials.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you have a camera that's got like active steady shot, like the FX3 7S3, like it looks, you can pull some stuff off.
Slowly,
push in
look,
slow.
yeah.
Put it on a piece of cloth, drag the camera like a slider shot. Big brain.
Fuck, man.
Big brain.
Learning everything by the minute here on this podcast at Film Forest. So you use top-of-the-line glass like G-Masters, but you also rock Rokinons. You know, I see you use some cheap lenses here and there, but you also have like the expensive ones. When it comes to glass, what do people get wrong about it? And where do you see people making the wrong investments in it?
I think people get caught up in, I need to buy the most expensive gear because it's going to be the best for me, which is not always the case. And they just get caught up in buying gear. There are plenty of manufacturers out there, we'll keep the lens specifically, that have an amazing look for a fraction of the cost. And at the end of the day, really, it depends what you want the look to be, right? G-Masters specifically are incredible lenses, tack sharp.
Yeah.
Like for photos and stuff, also amazing.
Yeah.
Because they also work with the Sony autofocus like virtually flawlessly. So that's great for that. But they are overly sharp. So if you're shooting a film or a commercial where you don't want that sharp look, sure, you can add a ProMIS or something like that. But maybe you want a lens that's a little softer, that has a different shaped bokeh. Maybe you want bokeh that's like starry and not perfectly circle. I don't know, whatever. It depends on what you're shooting. But I think people get too caught up in just buying gear and buying top-of-the-line stuff because that's what they think they should do, and that's what's going to give them the best end product when that's not the case.
Yeah.
I've owned almost every Rokinon, I think it's called the DS Cineline or whatever. I've owned pretty much all of them, and they are amazing lenses for the price. Amazing look, image. The bokeh shirt might not be perfectly round, but like,
Who gives
who
a fuck?
cares,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah,
Who gives
yeah.
a fuck? It doesn't matter. Nobody's looking at that video and they're like, damn, bro, that shit
That
ain't
bro-
oval,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So people get too caught up in the gear game.
I got you. And yeah,
Am
I mean,
I straight?
yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Good enough?
Yeah,
All
good
right.
enough. I have the Sigma there, so you know it's fucking great.
Sigma's a great brand.
Yeah.
The image quality of them is fabulous.
Yeah. Not only thinking like, obviously G Masters would be nice, but
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
definitely
there are very expensive high-end brands that do have like a very distinctive look to them. Cook is the obvious one because their tagline is the Cook look.
Yeah.
And they are incredible, but also like they're insanely expensive. Like even to rent, they're pricey. So depending on your budget and stuff, but yeah, people, you can't just get caught up in the just buying shit to buy shit, you know?
Yeah, I think that's
That's where also people just like go into debt. And that's also a sidebar. That's where people drag their business down and slow their business progression because they're just buying gear. They're not really
just to buy it.
just to buy it, and they're not really thinking of like, what can I use that money for to expand in a different way, and or like, how can I improve myself instead of, you know, this. It's
I
shit,
think
bro.
you know people, and you've taught me this honestly, and I will say like I'm very thankful. Like
Oh,
you,
dude, I can't wait
like
to hear this.
I literally like fucking wrote a bunch of shit to this guy about like, oh, I don't know if I should upgrade the FX3 or like whatever. I was like, I was
Yeah.
split and like, what should I do? And he just sent, ask yourself, do you need either of these things? And I said no, and you're like, there's your answer. Because
Literally.
you don't need, you
No.
only should buy it when you're like, you should only buy gear when you need it for the job. When a job won't let you do it unless you have that piece of gear.
Mhm.
And that
Now,
really stuck with me.
the devil's advocate that people would probably ask is like, well, what if I buy a red to get more work?
Yeah.
Which,
What if?
which it's possible, and you could, and I'm sure you could get other work. You can market it for that. But going in with that mindset is, I mean, it's a recipe for like failure. Unless you have friends that you already know are on set with reds and need other shooters with reds or
Yeah.
whatever the camera may be, and you know you can get work with that, fine. But I would never go into it with the expectation of, oh, I'm gonna buy this just
So
so I can try and get work and clients.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah, that makes
Bad
sense.
idea. It's just, you gotta think smart.
Yeah.
Because all these, there's so much gear and tech out there. It's easy to get bombarded with like advertisements like, you know, this thing's amazing. This is gonna make me so much money. When in reality,
It's
like
not,
you don't
yeah.
need it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's how cameras make
how they
money.
get you,
yeah,
bro.
They make money. So, what do you think is like the best lens to get for all-around shooting? Probably 24-70, right?
Depends what you're shooting, but if you're doing like run and gun, like event stuff or even quick stuff, the 24-70 is bar none the most versatile
Staple.
lens for sure. One of the main reasons I had liked the G Master, or still like the G Masters, because at the time it was one of the few lenses that was 24-70 with a 2.8. I'm talking about the version 1.
Okay.
Obviously there are others now like the Sigma and Tamron that have 2.8s also, which also are fantastic lenses. So in general, 24-70 for majority of things is a great go-to lens. And Sigma and Tamron, if you can't afford a G Master, are more than sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Great look too. They each have a distinctive look also.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like Sigma's, I think, just photography too, it's just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like,
Tamron's amazing
sharp.
too. The Tamron's great.
Yeah, the Tamron's a 28-70.
28 to yes.
5 or some shit.
Yes.
It's something. It's like not. I don't know why they chose to do that, but they did.
Yeah. Still great though.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And the Tamron's like a little cheaper. I think it's like
I'm pretty sure.
$300 cheaper than the Sigma.
Yeah, which is why it's so appealing.
Yeah. How important really is camera resolution?
I think at least 4K I think is very important.
Yes. But
Um,
anything above that.
because, for example, you could shoot on an ARRI, you could shoot in 1080. I think it's like 16. I forget. It's 16 or 18-bit like raw or whatever that you can shoot on, and that 1080 image
Looks great.
is phenomenal. Way different than what
Yeah,
a Sony Sony A7S III FX3 is going to look like, right? The difference between having 1080 and 4K is the obviously availability to crop in, reframe, and do all that kind of stuff. So at minimum, 4K I think is very important. Anything higher than that, like if you're doing 8K stuff, I mean, you're not delivering the product in 8K unless it's to like some crazy theater, right? Everything is being delivered in 4K or 1080 at the moment, at least. So people aren't really viewing 8K except for random TV screens.
I think 4K was also like a lot bigger of a deal like back then, right? Now it's kind of just like the standard. Like I feel like 4K was like a new thing back then. Like it was like, yo, 4K, like,
Yeah.
you know, like the phrase caught in 4K. Like it's like there was a whole like
Yeah,
buzz
it's a
around
whole thing.
4K.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now it's kind of like, oh, 4K, like that's like a standard now. That shit's
Definitely
in
a standard,
4K.
but not all cameras in 4K are obviously created equal. Again, like the ARRI example, like
Yeah.
that 1080 image can blow like most cameras out of the water at 4K.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends on the camera, the sensor, and the quality, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, 4K I do think is important though, for sure.
What's your favorite focal length of all time to use? Don't give me depends on what I'm shooting, just everything.
I was gonna fucking say that, bro. I was gonna say that.
I just know you're very thorough with your stuff.
What I was gonna say is recently, 50 mil has been my favorite because actually you had put me on a little bit more to that. That's part of the reason why I got the 50 mil for the 4D. I mean, I needed a tighter focal length.
You did,
but,
yeah, it was wild.
yeah, I needed that. But all time, I think is 35.
Yes.
Yes, all time is
agree.
35. Lately, I've been on a 50 mil kick, but 35 is
Yeah, 35 to 50, perfect.
Yeah.
35 and 50.
Yeah.
I shoot rollers at 35 mil. It looks great.
Yeah. 35.
It's not like too tight.
No,
but it's not
just enough.
Oh, bro, it's great.
Just enough.
Like all the workout content's at 35. It's just like it gives like almost like that homemade film look too, because a lot of the film stuff is 35 mil, right?
Yep. But to be the most diverse, you should get all different types of focal length.
Of course.
Big brain. If you didn't know, now you know.
The most value packed into one video here.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
No, this guy is literally jam packing all of the
Dude.
value here. So we're
Big
moving along
value.
good. We're good.
Big
we're
value.
Good.
You can buy my course.
Is there a specific audio brand people should avoid?
A specific audio brand
That's
people
just
should
like
avoid.
consistently not good. Just like a not quality audio.
Lens Go?
Oh,
Don't use those?
bro.
Caught out, bro. You're caught out right
the
now.
Lens Go still works to
Lens
this
Go.
day. I shot the first episode with him, brother.
Um,
Blew my hat off with that one.
dude, it's hard to say because all the brands I've used have been good, but yeah, I mean these fly by night. I mean Lens Go. I mean, you know,
I don't like Rode.
You don't like Rode?
No.
Why don't you like Rode?
Because I bought their Video Mic Go and it sucks cock.
See, I've never. Damn, bro. See, I've never used. I've
I
never used
don't
that
like the wireless Go 2s. They're unreliable.
one.
They sometimes won't connect unless they're plugged into like USB-C to the outlet, and they won't connect. And the
Rode.
quality is less than the Lens Go.
Interesting.
I swear.
Rode in the past has been a little finicky for me, but I've never used those ones that you've used, but I could see that.
Yeah.
But they're also selling them for like really cheap too. That's the other
True.
thing. Like there are certain things in the filmmaking world where you should splurge a little bit on to make sure the quality
Yeah.
is good and the quality control that coming from the manufacturer is good also.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Just Rode has been a rough experience for me.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Oh. Will you ever? Everyone's asking. Will Sam Schwartz?
Is everyone really asking this?
Will Sam Schwartz ever consider switching to DaVinci Resolve to edit?
Absolutely fucking not.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. DaVinci is a great platform for
No,
both
it is.
editing
No,
and
it
color
is.
grading.
It is.
I want to know why you haven't switched. Because there has been a recent trend in like people switching to DaVinci.
Yeah. So for me though, really is a time factor and learning DaVinci fully because I've now been invested into Premiere for I don't know 10
Yeah, your
years
whole
now or
thing.
whatever.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too about like growing the business. You have to value certain like times and figuring things out what the best use of your time is. So for me to sit there and learn everything or most things about DaVinci to be very sufficient in it like I am at Premiere now wouldn't be beneficial to me. Now for the other guys, maybe.
What if? Yes, it's more time, but the fastest you can be on Premiere is fastest you can be on DaVinci is faster than Premiere. It's not worth it.
Would
right?
that I don't think that'd be worth it for me. No,
Good.
I don't think so. And also, I don't have the issues of Premiere like I know other people have. Like, I know some people have, like, crashes all the time. It's slow. This guy.
I have an M1 Max.
Yeah,
so it's not doesn't help me.
Yeah. I haven't had those issues, thankfully, but even the guys here in the office have issues with them all the time. The customer support sucks. Like, it's not great. You need a powerful system to run it smoothly for certain codecs, but I luckily haven't had that issue. But, you know, maybe I'll dabble in DaVinci.
Maybe,
I don't know,
just
maybe,
just asking. You know,
maybe.
just maybe.
But for right now, no.
How did you start working with Movmax and Nanlite?
How did I start working with Movmax and Nanlite?
Because you are a, what do you call, sponsor of that? Like, what do you
Don't
think?
call me an influencer, bro. I'm going to smack you. I'm not an influencer.
Bro, you got 100K on Instagram. You're an influencer.
Yeah, trash. Nah.
How long have you been sitting at 100K, by the way? Because I feel like it kind of got to 100K.
Too long, bro.
Did you buy these followers or something, bro?
Yo, that's fucked up. No, I didn't buy them. It looks like I did.
Bro, because it just hit 100K and then it stopped.
It's just stagnant. It's at 105. Well, it's at 104. It's at 105 up until like a week ago. It just like dropped. But yeah, anyway.
The reels, brother.
I know. We're gonna be putting more out.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah. I got in touch with Nanlite. I honestly just had put together. I needed lighting. At the time, and like a bunch of diverse lights.
The plug. We are pretty much surrounded by Nanlites here.
So years ago, I put together a proposal about creating content that would be posted on my YouTube, basically an ad campaign for Nanlite that got posted on my YouTube, socials, and content that I could give to them that they could use as advertisements in exchange for no money, just product. Okay. And because at the time I needed a lot of lighting, and also it was a foot in the door to establish a still ongoing great business relationship with a major manufacturer, which is hugely beneficial because now I'm still in contact with them. We still do stuff with them that I'll just get products in exchange for content. I don't even want money out of it. I just want the product because their products are great. Movmax was a very similar thing. Like, I needed a camera car arm. And I leveraged my social media following, which obviously has a huge benefit. Not everybody has that. With that being said, I think there's still, if you don't have a great following, you can still make up a crazy good proposal about what the content's going to be, how it's going to be, where it's going to be displayed, how it's going to be trickled out. And more often than not, a lot of these manufacturers will be open to working with you because they want their product out there and they need more content and advertising material too. So.
And I think it's a lot of it comes down to like being, you know, savvy about that and like business and like seeing an opportunity in front of you.
Well, it's also like being outgoing too and just reaching out. Like, just don't be afraid.
We've been hammering down this whole podcast. Just be all these great advice right here.
Jam-packed, dude. Jam-packed.
I'm literally stuffed with
stuffed, dude. Stuffed.
That doesn't sound fucking weird at all. So, I mean, this little partnership you got with these companies must come with some discount codes, right?
Oh, what are you getting at? What are you driving at?
I don't know. I just like sense I'm near like some sort of discount code.
Yeah.
I can't seem to put my finger on it.
No, where's the discount code at?
Well,
any idea? We might have a
this
discount
is your
code.
Pirate ship.
Yeah, where could it be?
Can't be behind
Can any
the
of the viewers take a guess right now where this code is? If you had to guess, is it in your hat? No, it can't be in the hat.
Not in the hat. Is it in your hat?
Nope.
No.
Huh.
I don't know.
It's not under the coins, right? Is it in the wine barrel? Probably not.
Nah,
we should probably open it.
Should we break it open?
I mean,
you got like a... Nah, they wouldn't put it in.
They wouldn't. That'd be crazy. In the wine? No, that's crazy.
In the camera.
It's got...
I don't want to touch it. It's a little too vintage.
It's vintage. It's old. It's not in the skull. You can't see it. Oh, what's that?
What's going on here?
What is that?
Take this out right now. Take this out. What is this? We got a little
jar.
Oh, there's a note.
There's a note.
I think we found it. I think we might have found it.
There's a note in here. Am I gonna get? How the fuck am I getting this out of here, bro? How the fuck? I need tweezers. What am I gonna put 2 fingers? Bruh.
Listen. We found a discount code, and it will be displayed right here.
I'm sticking a finger in here, bro. Right. Pause. I can't get it out.
There's nothing written on it anyways. There's nothing written on it.
So who's the discount code for? If you had to guess, who would it be for? Only one.
can't be Sony.
No, not
They
Sony.
wouldn't do that.
No.
It's got to be one of your companies. It's got to be one of. It's got to be.
It is.
I wouldn't say Nanlite because we have so many Nanlite products
Nope.
here, right?
Nope.
It's got to be Movmax, right?
It is Movmax. Enjoy the discount code. I don't exactly know the percentage because I'm waiting for them to get back. There is a discount code 1000%. We're just, I'm literally waiting for a message here. I still have not gotten it, but there is going to be a discount code displayed right somewhere here. Not in this bottle because for one, I can't fucking get it out.
You said it would be what? What would it get you?
A pause. Let me see what the percentage would be, please.
This did not go how I pictured it to go, but it's going.
I will send you a code when I get to the office. Okay. Not sure. If I had to guess, wait, let me double check. Which
I think you texted me. It was like 20% off.
Yeah, it was. Oh, 15% off. All Movmax.
Oh my God.
Who's Movmax? Dude? Who the fuck is that? 15% off for all Movmax products except for their blade arm. So 15% off everything except their blade arm. That's pretty awesome.
And you know it because you watched the Film Force podcast.
Yes. You saw it here first.
Yep.
That's pretty epic. 15% off. That's nice.
Listen, that's a lot of money.
Get your razor arms, your N2 arm minis, your suction cups.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. All right, got a little questions about on-site shooting. Just a little quick questionnaire right here. When you're on site, whether it's construction, studio, cars, whatever you got going on, how do you what is your mental checklist that's going on in your head that keeps like the workflow going and like you're not like on shoot like
what do you mean in the sense of like
that you're getting all the shots in, you're getting all done, like what is a lot of pre-production that you're thinking about? What is it?
If it's a lot of pre-production for sure. It's talking with the client, talking with whatever the crew or whoever the crew is that's going to be there, figuring out logistics and really creating a shot list and a storyboard to make sure you got what you want and anything else is extra. If you're in a run and gun scenario where you don't have the time to deal with the client,
the cars and stuff.
Yeah, cars and stuff. Generally what I like to do is, what does the environment look like? Can we capture anything with that? What does the subject look like? Can we get wide, medium, tights of that subject to make sure there's a diverse focal length of all the stuff? Is there any details of the subject that we need to capture? Is there any interviews, sound bites? How can we make this the most interesting piece with having no outside information available to us, right?
Yeah.
How's the lighting? How's the sound? Do we need sound bites from people? A lot of moving parts. And a lot of this comes with experience and over time, but these are things you need to constantly think about every time you're on the job.
I think that with my earlier work, I would do a lot of the same movements, like on a car. It'd be like a pan, wide pan, wide pan, wide pan, all the same. Like it's like Nick pointed out to me actually when he watched one of my old car videos, and like I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I was not changing up the shots at all.
Yeah, it's like people get stuck on the gimbal, right? So like, what gear do I have? What can I use here? Can I use handheld? Can I use tripod? Can I use slider? Can I use
static
just
too,
anything?
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
hold it there.
For sure. You don't have to overuse the gimbal, man. I hate that. Everyone overuses the gimbal.
Because you can just tell so quickly.
Yeah,
it's floating everywhere.
It's orbiting everywhere. It's the same like push-ins. There's no diverse shots to it, and it looks good. Yeah, but it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, you've shot on site with tons of people before, right? Videographers, experienced, some more experienced than others. What have you seen people make, like mistake-wise, or what's the biggest mistake you've seen people make that you kind of like, I'm not gonna make that mistake. Let's not do that on shoot and switch it to this. Like whether it's like something with the workflow or like anything.
Honestly, the biggest thing for me has been like safety for certain things, like rigging certain, like I've seen lights drop and almost fall on clients, not from us, from other people that I've worked with, like if they're not tethered to like the ceiling or the I mean it can.
That's
and
crazy.
Like not only can you obviously hurt someone, and it might not be a light, it might be, I don't know, a cord that's not taped down right, someone trips over it. Like number one, that person will get hurt, you might get sued for it, but it also puts a bad taste in the client's mouth that hey, you're not professional enough or you're not qualified to do this. And then that client could have, been in a spider web to other clients, but now you don't have any of it because, you fucked up.
People are more likely to share their negative experiences, right?
1000%. More often than not, they'll share the negative experience.
So you have to be conscious of, you know, if this happens, you know, what's going to happen to my brand. And
Absolutely.
Stuff, so.
And it's also like it's good for you. Like you don't want to get hurt. Your employees don't want to get hurt. You want to hurt your employees. You know.
Yeah. So you do a lot of run and gun environments, like shooting. So I wanted to know, like, how do you make sure the image you're getting is the right image? Like, are you in auto white balance? Like, what is like kind of your thought process when you're going run and gun? Like, okay, I'm going inside now. I'm gonna do this to the camera. Okay, I'm going back outside. And like, it's very fast paced at times, right? So like, how do you keep track of that stuff?
It's a lot of experience and figuring this shit out over time.
Yeah.
Myself and the other guys, we've also worked in the wedding industry for a long time. We've collectively shot thousands of weddings, and weddings are great in the sense of they're very run and gun. You only get one shot to do things. They're not scripted, you know, so you have to learn how to do stuff on the fly, and they're great for learning that kind of stuff. But you know, other things outside of weddings, you can learn that too. But that was a great learning experience for all of us. I very rarely shoot auto white balance unless I know it's a shot where I need to go from like outside, inside into like 3 different rooms in like one take, and I can't control it.
Can you do that live, like on the cameras, adjust white balance live?
On the older cameras, you couldn't. The newer ones, you can. While you're recording on the FX3, I'm pretty sure you can do that while you're recording.
And is it smooth, or is it like?
No, it's smooth. But you have to, you know, that's another thing you're controlling. Like if you're a one-man band, right, and let's say you're doing a gimbal shot, a one-take gimbal shot from outside to inside, and you're like doing a walk and talk and following a subject, right? You're now focusing on what the focus is like, what the composition is like, where you're walking, how you're walking, how steady it is. Like to do all that other stuff is very difficult. So like in that situation, especially on the newer Sonys and stuff, the auto white balance is incredible. Like it's pretty on point. So like that's the only time I really do that kind of stuff. But all the other stuff I manually do white balance, checking my composition, seeing what that looks like, how far I am from the subject, what I'm shooting. And sometimes like if you have enough time to see the location you're at before you start shooting, even like 5-10 minutes before, that mentally helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because you know where you have to go, what the lighting looks like in there, and what you can do in that scenario.
Yeah. And I think like, especially I used to shoot in white auto a lot. This camera's not too good at it, so like the grade would look different on each clip, and I'd have to manually like go in and adjust the magenta values and the temperatures of each, and it was just a nightmare. Yeah. So now I just shoot everything in a fixed value. Even if it does look fucked up, they all look the same. You know, I'd rather it all look warm and all look different.
It depends. Like if you're doing a lot of outdoor and indoor stuff, like outdoor 5600 is your standard daylight temperature. Some lights inside might be 4500 or 4000 or like 3200, depending on what the area is. So, but if you know that color balance, it's very easy to swap in between them. You know.
Gotcha. What's the most memorable project you've worked on so far, besides the crushing the key thing? What like just overall most memorable?
Anything with you, dude. Anything with you, dude. Most memorable overall.
Whatever it would have been that makes it most memorable could be anything. It's most memorable. Like you're like, damn, that was a good shoot. I always think about that shoot. You know.
Be honest.
Our first shoot at RBS.
To be honest, I mean, it's going to sound corny, but like I'll think of one. But a lot of the shoots that we're on are memorable in their own ways for the sense of the crew that I was with, you know, how funny it was, how great the client was, obviously the end product. So like they're all honestly great, and some of them are shit. Of course, you know, you got to deal with a bunch of bullshit. But a lot of them are memorable in their own ways, like traveling to a new state you haven't been to before and experiencing that kind of stuff. So
Vermont, baby. I went to
Vermont. See? Pop your Vermont cherry
fresh
this year, bro. That fresh air, those mosquitoes, dude.
Crazy. Got attacked by a band of mosquitoes with me and Nick one time. Fucking
Brutal,
wild band of mosquitoes.
Brutal.
In the car.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Terrible.
But it's cool.
It is. I would say one of my most memorable ones was early on. I think it was like 2017. I got to travel to Taiwan to do an advertisement for a company called Ceramic Pro, which, I mean, it was, you know, maybe it didn't end up being like the best end product to what I'm capable of now, right? But, you know, it's hindsight looking back at stuff. Yeah. But that was one of the most memorable trips for me because I've never taken a flight that long. I've never been to Taiwan. I got to experience their culture, got to film there. Like it was a pretty like unique experience that I really haven't had since then, really. Yeah. In its own way.
Yeah, I mean that would seem pretty memorable in my mind.
Hell yeah.
Where do you get most of your music when you edit? SoundCloud?
Oh, I hate all the music subscription
I
websites,
know.
but I do get them from that.
Go to artlist.io.
Artlist.io, Epidemic Sound, whatever.
Hey, Epidemic Sound's not too bad.
No, there's also In Audio, INAUDIO.org, which is also really good too. A lot of people don't know about that one. That one's good. But for a lot of stuff, I get off SoundCloud and I actually contact the artist and see if I'm able to use it, whether it's licensed or they're just letting me use it for
That's
whatever.
respect. That's like
Yeah,
artists
of course.
recognizing artists.
Of course, because I mean, half the video really is the music, right? That sets the, well, depending, right? But that sets the tone for what the video like emotionally feels like. So, and the musicians, I mean, they're creatives and they're artists too, right? So they deserve, you know, respect where it's due. They deserve to be credited and paid and whatever just as much as we do, you know? So I'll always ask them and see what I can do to work something out with them, and that's where I get.
And it's like almost like reverse. If like someone were to steal your footage, you'd be like tight.
Yeah, for sure. And it gets stolen all the time, bro. It's
Yeah.
ripped on YouTube all the time.
Really? YouTube?
Yeah, dude. There's a few videos of mine that have been ripped from, it's like a, I don't know, it's like a Russian music YouTube channel. And one of the videos that's sitting on my channel is actually at like 1 million or 2 million views, which is awesome. On their music channel, it's at like 50 to 80 million views because it's a combination of the footage and then obviously the EDM music that they put behind it with like a music video or whatever. So it's a combination of everything.
What do you do to combat that? Do you like report?
You can report them, but sometimes like a lot of those channels will credit you in the description and that's their way of getting around it. Sometimes it's beneficial because it draws people to your channel. Other times, like if they're making a shit ton of money off it, yeah, you gotta flag them because that's not fair.
I mean, the whole like crediting thing, I feel like is still like unfair. You could just be like, well, I don't want that. I don't want them using my shit, whether they credit me or not.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
I mean, a lot of times too, those that, you know, there's also a thing now that's called like shared monetization to where, you know, they can get their money, you can get their money, but not your money. But, you know, that's not always what you want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. Does it help when you're editing? For me, it helps when I'll edit something, not too happy with it, right? But can't work around it. Like I don't know what the solution is. I'll like close the book, come back, and then I'll be like, okay, I got this. Or like you'll look at something differently. Has that happened to you?
Many times, totally. A lot of time, because like you'll get caught up in like really sitting in that chair for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you walk away, you come back a day or two later, whatever, even sometimes an hour later, and you look at what you put together and you're like, damn, that looks like shit.
Yeah.
And you gotta kind of take a step back sometimes and reevaluate.
I've seen sometimes reverse. I'm like, oh, like I used to be like, oh, it's just shit, and I come back, I'm like, oh, it's not that bad actually.
Yeah, because you know you're in the zone, you're just seeing, you know, you're pressing play, rewinding like 1 million times.
Yeah,
you know, you're listening to the same song. You know, it gets mundane. Like, taking a step back and, you know, having a fresh take on it is definitely eye-opening, and that happens to me often for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Favorite color grade look? What's your favorite look? Don't say teal and orange.
I do love teal and orange though, bro. I do love teal and orange.
This is lit.
I do love it. It is
right
lit teal and orange. It is lit teal and orange.
It is lit teal and orange.
I also like it's called like, I call it like a moody brown. It's browns and reds and like a little bit of a desaturated look for certain things.
Do you have like a movie
Maddie's Arc 7 from Midnight Gotham Run. The first one is essentially more or less that.
2020?
Yeah. Like the shots of the car parked up in the
moody brown.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's called that, but I call it moody brown.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, getting that ad revenue right now? That 2 cents, bro? Shit. Yeah, so go to the
this one?
Yeah, that's the one. Not skip to like the Chinatown part. I mean, this is kind of like moody brown, but if you go to the like this section here.
It's blue, a lot of blue though too.
Yeah, it's blues, it's reds, browns, a little desaturated look though for certain things.
Yeah.
I don't know, makes certain things stand out.
Also, like all the shadows are maintained. Everything's like nothing's like.
That's one of my
How do you get
favorites.
this wide look? By the way.
How do I get that wide look?
Yeah, like when I upload videos, it doesn't look like this.
So that comes down to that was shot on the Sony A7S II or whatever, and that only does UHD 4K, which is 3840 by 2160. So what you have to do is change the resolution in post to make sure it fits widescreen monitors. So that was scaled to 3440 by 1440, which if you full screen it, it'll go the whole, on a widescreen, it'll go the full widescreen. And the biggest mistakes people make, yeah, it looks great. And if you put it in theater mode, it'll naturally do the black bars on the top and bottom for a lot of stuff. The mistake
is huge too. Look.
Yeah. The mistake people make is that they'll put a mask, right, on the top and bottom to put the black bars in.
Yeah, actual letter.
Right, and they burn it into the video. But what that ends up doing is when you blow it up on a full screen monitor, it's basically just it's a square box with the black bars on the top and bottom, not an actual widescreen thing. So it actually looks like shit.
Yeah, like this is what I have it as. I just uploaded a video today.
Did you put the black bars on top and bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that exactly. So that's it's a box in a box.
Yeah, it looks stupid. When I go to this, it's not. It works here, but like it's not the same.
Yeah. But if you put that on widescreen, it's not gonna look like that. That's
yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
Footage is dope though. Footage is dope.
I actually have a. We're gonna review this. I want you to. I want you to live
on-site review.
You haven't seen it
live
yet.
review.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But that's coming.
Yeah, no doubt.
Most complex edit you've done, like, and what was it? Like, just totally, like, just brutal. Just like a bitch to edit.
I mean, any of the Wolfscar videos, because they're like 40 fucking minutes long.
There's so much like to consider.
There's so much to consider. The flow of the timeline, obviously making certain scenes look the way they look in terms of coloring, the sound.
Like, where do you start with that? Like, when you shoot an event like that, like, where the fuck do you start? You go into the days, right?
It depends on how you want it to flow, right? You can do it in the sense of like what happens on Wednesday, then go into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and do it in like a chronological order, or you can do it in a way where, you know, all the events are mixed up, but you make it flow where like one car is going from one event to another, and it matches from like going to daytime to nighttime, and it all flows. So there's a variety of ways you can do it, but you know, it also depends on what the client wants it to look like. I've done it both ways, and you know, they turn out good, but sometimes chronologically it gets boring because like you know what to expect.
How do you consider that first scene though? Like, what is like is a voiceover, like what?
First, I mean, a lot of times a first scene I'll prepare beforehand. If not, then for automotive stuff specifically, I'll make sure I like feature one car, right? And that scene can either have like a voiceover, or can have just engine noise, or it can just be scenery, just so people can get like the vibe of where we're at. So it depends.
How far are you into this year video for Wolfscar?
0, bro, 0. I've had no time. It's actually starting to get sorted through next week. Yes.
Okay.
And it should be done within 2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I get some footage in there.
Yeah, you'll get one clip in
I'll
there.
get one, my courtesy one clip.
No, you'll get plenty. Got a lot of dope shit.
Part of editing that everyone forgets to do.
The part of editing that everyone forgets to do.
Yes. Or you don't see enough people doing. That should be done more, because
I don't see enough people utilizing sound design as much as they should. I think a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this too, is that they just let the music track do the work. Where in reality, a lot of times you don't even need a music track. You can do everything with sound effects, and it'll be more often than not more impactful than what the music track that person chose is. Because a lot of times people make the mistake of choosing a music track that doesn't really fit the vibe of what they're shooting.
Gotcha.
Right? So sound design can help that, but sound design in general is something that's very overlooked.
Yeah.
Maybe more people are doing it now, but it can transform the entire video in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's just I know you like sometimes you use Zach to do the sound design and stuff.
Shout out Kerbanger, Zach Fredette. Yeah.
Zach is
amazing
dope.
sound designer. Yeah. Fucking love that guy.
I feel like it's just like a whole other ballgame. You kind of need like a dedicated sound designer, right?
Well, the other thing too is like when you're working on a big project, Wolfscar, for example, that's 40 minutes long. Nick ended up coloring that also because I'll put it together and I'll spend, I don't know, I think on the last Wolfscar, just over 100 hours putting it together, right? Splicing everything, making everything look good. And then at that point, it's like, well, you also have to know your limitations. Like, I'm not the best colorist. I'm not the best sound designer. So I'd rather have the best outcome that I can with the people who are around me. Yeah. So I'll give Nick, you know, the video to color. I'll give Zach the video to do sound design, but also like that kind
Give
of
me nothing. I'm
nothing
kidding.
until this year. But that also
I'm responsible now of the edit, the
everything,
sound
dude.
design, the
Literally
color.
everything. Literally, you're gonna spend the next 8
In
months
Davinci.
in Davinci.
Yeah. No.
But it allows
You
me
gotta specialize.
to. You gotta specialize. It allows me to free up my time to do focus on other things while that's getting done too. But you gotta recognize, like, you know, you might not be the best at everything, which I'm obviously not. So like, I'd rather give it to someone who's gonna be much better and much more detailed at it than I am to get the best end product possible.
What would you say your strong suit is? Shooting, definitely, right?
Yeah, shooting is my strong suit for sure. That's
I
yeah.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Me, for sure.
Like directing, shooting,
how it's gonna
pre-production,
play out.
how it's gonna play out. Yeah, definitely.
I think that, and also like the cinematography aspect has always been a strong suit of mine. Like how it's gonna look and like the feeling and like.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're very attentive. Like I've seen that already in a lot of the jobs that we work, and you understand, like, maybe if you don't understand certain terms or like, you know, certain gear to use, like you understand what you want it to look like, which helps, you know, figure it out.
Like, and I think it takes a certain eye. Like, I mean, not everyone's like that. You know, like you gotta like have like that aptness to like visually, because like some people like, and like I don't mean to like shit on people, but like some people like will think something looks good and it just doesn't.
It doesn't.
And
yeah,
like you just have to know what looks good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
some people, they just don't get it, I think.
No.
And it takes a certain type of individual to be like, no, this is how it's gonna look because this
Well,
is
a
what
lot
looks
of
nice.
people just shoot just to shoot. Like they don't think
Yeah,
of
they don't
everything
think.
else.
Yep.
You know?
And honestly, working with you guys has made me think a lot more on like what am I actually shooting and what is it
yeah.
playing a part in like the bigger story. I've had a lot of times where I just click record and I figure it out after.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, listen, sometimes there are times where that's going to happen for
Yeah,
sure.
of
It's not going to be
course.
like, you know, every time, but yeah, really, like, to better yourself and your content and, you know, everything, you need to take a step back and like, what do I need to do here, you
Yeah.
know, to make this better?
Like a big thing when we were like used to review the Wolf Scar footage every night, like Nick was like, yo, you have to like think about the shot first and then click record, because a lot of my footage was just like gunk and then the shot
Yeah,
in
and
between, and it was like, wow, like I never thought of that.
Yeah,
and I
because,
gotta
well,
start
then
doing
also
that.
on the back end editing, you
Yeah,
got to
it
scrub
gets a
through all that
lot.
shit. It's like,
yeah, you gotta be even like for myself though, like not even like saving Nick, like just saving myself, like of you know, wanting to edit stuff like myself. I'm
For
like
sure.
looking through more footage, more time,
definitely.
you know. So
You end up throwing out a lot of clips because like they're
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 trash,
throwaway
yeah,
clips,
yeah.
they're trash, right? So like,
So it makes me think more, and like I even had Nick review one of my little like short films I made, and he completely tore it apart.
Mhm.
But like I needed that because like he
Yeah.
showed me like, yo, like you need to like motivate your scenes like to make a feeling, like, and
Yeah.
you need to look at the
Hell yeah.
intricacies of like what is this doing in the image, like get it out, you know. It's like
you
not
should
helping.
never be afraid to take criticism. People like, whenever they get like criticized about their work, they like shell up and
I
they're
used
like,
to like that.
yeah. I mean, I think naturally a lot of people are, but you can't. That's how you grow and get better, obviously.
I used to think I was the best fucking shit around, bro.
Till you
could
met
see
us,
it,
bro.
right?
Till you met us,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh,
dude, I don't know,
fuck.
fucking, you know. But no, I used to
good.
take criticism super harshly.
Yeah.
It took me. I credit. This is a little like not really film related, but like my marketing internship faced a lot of criticism with my design work specifically, and I didn't take it well at first because I was like, no, like we should do it like this because like this is. But then I was like, no, shut the fuck up, like let them speak and like understand, you know, like what they're trying to say here, because once I started doing that, like I was like, okay, yeah, actually, you know what. And I almost
great.
held it so heavily because it's my work, and I'm like, oh, they don't like my work, you know.
Well, I mean, your work is it's your baby, dude. It's your creative
Yeah.
process. So I get why people feel attacked, you know, and they shell up. But you need to learn and grow if you're gonna get any better.
Nothing's
So like,
gonna change.
right, exactly.
So.
You're just gonna do the same stupid shit over and over. So.
And this leads me into rating the edit, because I think we've basically kind of foreshadowed this, right? We talked about, you know, with the shots and the editing.
Let's do it.
So we're gonna just review it live for you guys right now.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Fuck
Oh,
it,
my thing's coming off here.
Okay, well, you know what? It's fine. It's just all the content's burning. It's just like coming
dude,
off.
just crush.
Like, yeah. Fucked.
We're doing it live.
Now, I will say the sound design, I did not spend a lot of time because I was just focused on the story.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted that route,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll let you just watch it.
So we're not gonna watch it through. I'm just gonna go and like just do it as we go.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Trash.
You missed the part.
Oh, sorry.
If I don't go to the gym, it doesn't feel right.
A little long, I don't know.
I like it. like the colors so
Consistency is
far.
key, man.
A little shake is good.
Anybody can have a good workout for a day or a couple days or weeks or months on end, but ultimately, if you don't do it 80% of the time, you're gonna be falling short of everybody else who's giving it 100% of the time.
Not blasting it with music, which is a nice change.
Rome wasn't built
Unique
in a
angle
day,
here.
and the same could be said about
I don't know if
your
people
goals.
keep headphones on the pole and spring usually, but
Yeah.
we'll let it slide.
You gotta work towards them every day, and you gotta be better than the day before.
Color looks nice, dramatic,
So it's something for me
color to
to
match.
This light was a little fucked up
Yeah,
here.
could have
Yeah.
we'll go back. Yeah, I got pause it, right? So I mean, yeah, I get it, run and gun. I
Posing room.
actually this is the posing room. Okay.
And I actually had a bounce light that I was using from the top that would light up his face like this way,
Gotcha.
but this was a top down, so everything was getting like a little fucked
Yeah,
up
so
here.
you see, on the bottom he'll start to get like raccoon eyes when you do top down lights like that. You know, it's all you can change.
How do you go frame by frame here?
I don't know if you can.
Nah, it's just
5
yeah,
seconds. Okay.
I want to like
Yeah.
show his face when he's like looking up. Yeah, like see it
Yeah,
here
his
and
hair
stuff.
there. So I mean, the shadows are here are fine. Like if you want to make it more distinct, you could have obviously added negative fill and make it more of like a harsher line down his face and more shadows on the right side. The left side's nice. It could be definitely a little softer, a little less harsh. You see it on his cheek and nose here because it's shining bright there. And also, a lot of people don't know, like you have to light people's skin tones differently. Like a black person or a white person, you actually have to light differently
Yeah.
because the light that gets absorbed on the skin is actually different. How the light reflects is also different, and what colors look good on the skin. But anyway, yeah, the light could definitely be a little bit soft from the side. We could have had a little bit more of a kicker on, like, you know, to pop off the back to bring them off the background. But the good thing that you did here, you don't fully need that kicker because the background's black, so the main focal point is already here. Framing looks good. I can't tell what's in the back, but that's fine.
Yeah, these are like mirrors.
Mirrors.
I couldn't control that. I
No,
didn't
but
have like anything.
That's
there.
fine because it separates from one side of the frame to the next, and yeah, this looks pretty good.
I try to be better every day. Even if I have a
Promise
shitty
that.
lift,
Yeah, the
it's
promise
better
is
to
promise
get to the
is
gym
quarter
and adjust
promise.
How I'm feeling that
Yeah.
day. and
Yeah, it looks
put
good.
some work in.
I like a
I know
1/8,
it's
but
gonna pay
Yeah,
off.
I know.
It
It's a
looks
little
nice.
much here.
that's a good cutscenes. There's all tight looking, bringing in the vibe. Nice classical music,
It's
slowly
kinda just
fading
turned
in,
on
not
to
too
the rest of
abrupt.
life. My work ethic has increased tenfold as a result of getting into the gym.
You
taking
looked
care of my
away at that.
body,
You see that?
Yeah.
Just working towards something.
A lot of dynamic shots though. Nice focus pull there, smooth. Tapping on the fingers, good. Yeah, maybe a little more sound design here.
Yeah,
You got a little
yeah.
flicker on the bottom there for lights, but not a big deal. Yeah, it's definitely lacking like the weights banging down
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
machines going, but I mean, still.
It's not a chore either. I really do enjoy it, so it's pretty easy
Little
to stay
mic.
motivated.
Yeah,
if I'm
I heard that, but
work towards my goals.
so like, how much longer is the video? Oh, okay, yeah. So like, I don't know.
What were we
No,
gonna
no,
say?
no, no. I mean,
No?
for me, it depends on what you want in the video, right? But first, like, minute and a half, 2 minutes, where the vibes, you know, good, the energy's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
But like, I feel like at this point, you maybe could have turned it into like a higher energy sort of thing,
Yeah.
and maybe turned it around a little bit, because you know, 3 minutes of a classical
Yeah,
song
yeah.
and slow pace, yeah, might want to see more. But if this is the end vibe that you're going for, then
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looks good.
There's a bunch of posing.
Mhm.
I didn't have a gimbal,
Yeah, that's okay though.
so well,
I like the angles. The lighting actually,
Any
it's
type
top
of
down. It
emotion
looks,
feeling,
it's
you know,
actually
negative,
showing
positive,
well.
Yeah.
Good,
on the
bad.
contours of the
Doesn't really
muscles,
matter.
it's great.
Whenever I go in the gym, I feel better coming out. Before I knew it, it was just second nature. Health is wealth.
A Tony Schiavone.
Wait.
Oh, there you go. Okay, nice,
Oh,
nice,
shit.
nice.
Lead role, the only
Yeah.
role.
Honestly, man, I think it's really great, especially if you look at all like the gym content that's getting like put out now. It's just like, the lift weights and
Yeah,
high energy
yeah,
music
yeah,
and
yeah.
like, I don't know. This is cool. It's cinematic, tells a
It's
story.
little-
It's different.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah.
It's unique. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck
is that?
It's unique. That was the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Is like I wanted to like put a different twist on like something that's so overplayed.
For sure.
So
No, it looks great, man. Not many critiques, honestly. It looks great.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Now we got probably the best segment
Is it rapid
of
fire?
this podcast.
I hope I don't fuck this up right now.
It doesn't have to be too rapid fire, but like
No, it's gotta be rapid fire, dude.
because I want to get your raw reaction.
Okay.
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 Okay. Pocket 3 thoughts.
Trash. I take that back. Wait, it's actually pretty good, but wouldn't use it on professional film sets. Okay.
Where should it be used? Where is it?
What? Dial that
Where's
back.
it being overused?
Where?
The Pocket 3.
Where's it being overused?
Yeah.
Car videos, rollers specifically, 100%.
Is the FX3
Only one focal length. It's kind of whack. Anyway, yeah.
Is the FX3 a true cinema camera?
Yes.
Why?
Duh.
How is it a true cinema camera?
It has all the features that I would need to make something cinematic.
But is it a true cinema camera?
What makes this camera cinematic?
I guess that's up for debate, right?
Up for debate.
Yeah.
I would consider it, yes. True
Yes?
cinema camera. And it's got DCI 4K. It's got shutter angle, which is very important. It's got great color science. Autofocus is awesome. You can pair it with PL lenses. Yeah.
You convinced me.
Yeah, I mean, you could. It's got the top audio handle that you can plug in any professional audio. Yeah, I would consider it. It was used on a cinema set.
All right.
It made a movie. True cinema camera.
Hello.
Hello, duh.
Most overhyped camera.
A fucking lot of them, dude.
Most overhyped camera. Most overhyped.
Osmo Pocket 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
Osmo Pocket 3. Yeah.
What makes it so overhyped? What like?
It's not overhyped, man. I fucked that up. It's not overhyped. It's actually pretty fucking good. Most overhyped camera.
Yes. Doesn't deserve the hype.
Doesn't deserve the hype. Nah, the Pocket 3 does deserve the hype. It's pretty fucking sick, man. I take that one back. Fuck. Most overhyped. Oh, isn't there a fucking photo camera that everybody fucking uses now?
A9 III?
No, the one of the Leica fucking ones. The real dumb expensive like Leica R or some shit that's like $6 or $7 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
Overhyped, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I could take as good pictures with my cell phone. I don't know. No, it's just I don't know. It's not worth the money. It's just the name at that point.
I gotta look up what the name of this thing is.
Yeah, it's the
Leica
R, I think.
It's not a
It's not. No, that's the lens. What?
M10R, 8K.
No, it's fuck. What the hell is that fucking? What's it called? Just type in Leica DSLR, whatever.
699 SL3.
You know what? No, we're gonna run it back. Ask me again.
Most overhyped camera.
Most overhyped camera, Red Gemini. I own
Why?
it. Red Gemini. I just dollar for dollar. I just truly don't believe the value is there in quality, all the accessories that you gotta buy for it. The image is great. It's phenomenal, but also the image from DSLRs, 4D, everything else is equally as good, if not better. Truthfully.
Okay.
I own the Red Gemini.
Okay.
Great camera.
I own it.
I think it's overhyped. I honestly think a lot of Red products are overhyped.
Okay.
I will stand by that. I will die on this hill just like the GoPro is trash.
Okay. Overhated brand in filmmaking. Most like just like we shouldn't deserve all the hate. Like it's just overhated.
Canon.
Yeah.
Canon. Yeah, I actually think they have really solid products.
Video knows.
The newer stuff is actually quite good. Like the R5C is like pretty solid. The Canon C300 Mark
but you
II
don't
is
see
good.
those on film sets. You see Sony's, Reds, ARRIs.
Yeah, but I
Canon
think
just
it's
isn't the
because people hate on them a lot. You don't see
They
them
don't
a lot.
make shit that really competes with like sensor wise. Like they just don't have a good cinema camera that has like a sensor that's like a Venice.
Well,
or
the
something.
R5C is really sick, but I think so many people are now invested into Sony's. I mean, Sony's are honestly king in my opinion,
Yeah.
right? But the R5C is really sick. Pretty sure it's called the R5C.
Yeah, it
their
is.
DSLR or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I think that one's amazing,
Yeah,
but
but I'm saying like the box cameras, like cinema
oh,
box. cameras.
cinema box cameras.
Yeah, like they don't have those really. They have like the C whatevers, right?
Yeah, that would be the. No, they have. Well, their new one that came out is more boxy. I think C300 Mark III or something like that. It's more your box style camera.
It's just less performing than the competitors.
Yeah, and it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So ask me again.
Ask you again?
Yeah. Are you saying like on a set most
overhated brand? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. So it's Canon. Yeah. Okay.
Most underrated brand in filmmaking. Doesn't have to be a camera. It's anything.
Most underrated brand in filmmaking
that like people don't really give them the credit that they deserve, or like for quality wise, you know, it's just like.
I mean, DJI, honestly, like, yeah, certain people like love like the drones and stuff, but like the cameras and sensors on a lot of stuff is actually like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the 40 8K is amazing. I hope they make like another like box camera out of it. I think they should start making like mirrorless type things. Everyone raves over the Pocket, but that's really just because it's like small form factor, good quality, and like you can rig it up really quick. But I think, yeah, I think so.
DJI.
Yeah.
Are G Master lenses a waste of money? Yes or no answer?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I had the G Master 1 and I have the G Master 2. They're amazing, but yeah, I don't think it's worth the money.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Equipment that gets unreasonably marked up in price.
Every fucking piece of cinema gear ever, dude. What do you mean? Everything is so goddamn expensive. Which one specifically?
More than most. Yeah.
More than most?
Yeah, that's just like you look at the price, you're like, what the fuck? Like that's not worth that price.
I don't know. Let's fucking look. We got anything in here? Tripods, actually.
Yeah, tripods.
Some tripods are like $8 grand,
Yeah,
and that's not even including the head, which is another like $3 grand, depending on what you get.
Tripod is like mad expensive.
Dude, I think it's Sackler makes one. It's called I don't remember. It's called the Air, whatever, where you can like lift up the latches and like it all goes up at the same time. It's carbon fiber. I think it's like $7 grand.
Yeah,
I'm like, nah, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. Because like this is fucking $300.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you need a good tripod for certain things. Actually, the head is arguably more important, right?
Yeah.
How smooth it is. But like, dude, all camera gear is too expensive. But yeah, tripods.
Will smartphones destroy the video business?
No.
Okay.
It'll be its own sector, but I don't think it'll destroy it.
We kind of talked about this already. Thoughts on AI in the industry?
Thoughts of AI in the industry, I think it's a huge benefit. I don't think it's going to kill everything off like people say it is.
Okay.
Fact.
Do you need a big setup anymore?
That depends what you're shooting.
Okay.
Arguably, no.
Okay.
No.
Do you have to be in expert colors to get like a convincing image?
No.
Are gimbals overused?
Yes. Fucking 1000%, buddy.
Is the creator's vision more important than the budget?
Is the creator's vision... Ooh, that's a good question. Is the creator's vision more important than the budget
given?
No. I think the budget is more important because... Do you want me to explain? Like, you go into this?
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
Okay. Because I think what ends up trapping people is that they spend too much time, energy, and money, too much time and energy for a client to just like not give a shit about what their creative vision is, and they're just trying to like get this done within this budget.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And people then do that for multiple clients.
Piece, like a movie.
Well, bro, but then it depends. Yeah, it depends.
Can someone successfully run a six-figure production company by themselves?
Yes.
Yes? Just one-man band. One-man band.
Yeah. That's how SchwaaFilms started.
Really?
Six-figure production company.
Mm-hmm.
What,
bro?
What? No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking, bro.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
absolutely.
denying.
No, there are people out there who just do like DP work, and they're, you know, they can do 15, 20 jobs a year and clear 6 figures. You know.
Yeah. One shooting technique that needs to make a comeback.
One shooting technique that needs to make a comeback. Steadicam all day.
Dude, I want to get a Steadicam.
Steadicam, like actual flat steady, like
Yes.
you know, glide cam.
I
Yeah,
wanna get
100%.
one
We
because
have one. Just use them here. We have
wa-
this one right behind you.
Where?
That one right there. No, no, that's a light stand, bro. So, right.
That.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to learn one because it's
We'll
more of a
teach you.
homemade look than gimbal.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's really a complete different look. It's literally
Yeah.
a floating gimbals. It's a completely different look in general. But
Yeah.
there are like Steadicam specific operators that's what they do for life.
Yes.
And it looks fucking incredible. It's on a very high end professional scale. It's very difficult, but that's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. I've seen like operators. It looks crazy.
Yeah, but on DSLRs and shit, it looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
I should start using that more.
Has social media diluted the quality of professional business content?
Yes, 1,000,000%, no questions asked.
I agree. Jesus Christ. Equipment that's a waste of money.
Equipment that's a waste of money.
Doesn't have to be like just equipment. What equipment is just like a waste? People just spend. It's just a waste. You just don't need it.
A lot of lenses, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait for you to follow up. Yeah. Yeah.
Equipment. One more time.
Waste of money. Equipment's a waste of money.
Equipment that's a waste of money.
This is rough because this guy just doesn't waste money, I guess.
I mean, I really don't. Like, I don't think that I do. I like to think that I don't do.
Wasted a lot of money on me, brother.
Bro.
Wait, till he opens my wolf scarf.
Wait, bro. Wait, what do you think that's a waste of money? Maybe it'll help jog something.
I mean, I think buying like, and this is just like not a specific piece, but like buying the more expensive version of something when like the cheaper version works just as good. So like, for example, I don't know, a cord, or like, for example, like I just bought the DJI like magnetic mount. I bought one that's not DJI that was half the price and it works just fine.
But then you could say that about every piece of gear. But
I
agree.
Not with cameras though.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you mean? You don't have to upgrade to an FX3 over the A7 III. You can use the A7 III for 10 years. It'll be fine.
No, but I'm saying like the quality, like you can't compare those. You can compare quality of a piece and how it functions.
I see.
Like a camera obviously has clear, distinctive different
Yeah.
things, but like this literally just has a DJI logo compared to one that doesn't.
Right.
And it works just as fine. Like people, they have a need to buy like the name brand, like little equipment pieces of stuff. Like, bro, like fucking Condor Blue will like mark up a fucking cord for like crazy amounts of money.
Dumb money.
And like Small Rig too, they mark their shit up like that. When you could buy something that's not name brand and that works.
Well, and
just
Small
as
Rig
fine.
started out way cheaper, and now
Yeah.
they're just people are buying their shit all the time.
Because
So
it's
now-
Small Rig, it's a
Yeah.
fun name, you know.
I'll take that answer.
Just taking my answer, bro.
I agree.
Literally interviewing this guy, he's taking my answer.
Dude, a great answer.
I agree.
I agree. Great answer.
Thoughts on vertical video format?
Trash.
Have drones become a cliche in filmmaking?
Yes, overused.
When do you need to use one then? You think? Like
I think people overuse them in the sense of like using it just to use it and like getting an establishing
Like
shot
a
and
drone
like
shot,
a
yeah.
just like aerial like orbiting shot, whereas like you could do a lot of like intricate things with them. Like you can track cars, people can utilize FPV more if like you have the access to that. I think people don't use drones in the most creative way possible. I think they just do like a push in and orbit and like just a general wide establishing, whereas
Yeah.
like you could, if you have the right drone, actually you could do it with like any of the Mavics really. Like you fly in, somebody catches the drone in a safe way, right? You don't be stupid about it. Or with the Inspire, you would really do it. But drone flies in, you catch it, you run into like a handheld shot, do like a one take. I don't know, do creative shit with it. People just use it in like the most
I like to
basic way
do
possible.
like get tilt action in, like
Yep.
rising up, tilting down.
Yep, like
or
a crane almost. People
Yeah,
don't
like
use
like
it as much as it
fake
should.
crane
For sure.
shot type
Yep.
shit.
Totally.
Is long form content slowly dying?
At the moment, it seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really depressing.
Yeah.
I think people's attention spans and like the younger generation just can't, like they just can't watch the whole thing.
Well, if you made it this far, that means you don't have a short attention span. So I applaud you.
So for the one viewer that's watching,
which is myself.
yeah, all right.
While I'm cutting up reels
Yeah.
for this.
It'll make a comeback though. I think it'll make a comeback.
Oh yeah,
Long form.
yeah.
I think it'll make a comeback.
everything has cycles.
Yeah.
Most overrated trend in the industry overall.
Oh, dude, the fucking speed ramp shit. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? That's the fucking, I hate it, dude.
Mind-numbing.
Hate it.
Yeah, I agree. Fucking horrible.
Hate it.
Your personal hottest take in the industry. I want to hear Sam Schwartz's hottest take right now.
Nikon is trash. Terrible company. You heard it
Why?
here first. They just are so far. First of all, their shit's expensive, right?
Yeah.
Their new DSLRs are better,
What about
right,
the
than what they were.
Z9 or some shit?
Yeah, it's cool, bro. It's cool.
It's
No,
cool, you little Z9.
They are. You look like your little Z9. They're just.
Hey, bro, big pivotal thing now. They're
What,
they're-
DSLRs?
no, Nikon. They bought Red or some shit. Or Red bought them, or they bought Red. Yeah.
They bought
Maybe
Red.
they got something cooking, bro.
Maybe they do, but at the moment, overrated. They're so far behind on tech for other cameras, even catching up to Sony. I mean, Canon too, but Nikon specifically, I think. We'll see what they do with Red. I'm curious, but I don't know. Between
How are they
Sony,
still alive right now?
fucking beats me, bro.
Yeah, 'cause
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like it's all. I don't see.
I mean,
Nikons.
people use them for photos still. Like a lot of wedding
Think
photographers
video
use
or
them.
no?
Not mainly for photo, not really so much for video. I'd like never see them, but to catch up to like Sony and DJI is gonna take a lot of work.
They're just not as big as a company. You think, like with the budget to do these things?
No, I think they do. They're a massive company. I think they got the budget to. I don't understand why they can't catch
You know
up.
what's weird to me is like Sony. This is just like completely just not related, but like Sony, you know, fucking has TVs, like all these like weird electronic ones, but their cameras still are so good.
Yeah.
Whereas you like look at a company like Canon, which kind of just like mainly like photography oriented, they they still can compete with like a Canon company.
Well, I think those companies like Nikon and Canon got a little too comfortable because before the Sony DSLRs came out, right? They were way far behind in their tech. They didn't really have cameras to really compete with like Nikon and Canon and other brands. And those were like the kings at the time before like the DSLRs. The Canon 5D Mark III was an incredible DSLR, right? And I think the companies either didn't foresee it, they got lazy, or they were just banking on that their cameras are so good that nothing's going to change. And then Sony comes out with their A7S, blows every fucking thing out of the water that they had within that category. And Sony did their obvious due diligence and kept fucking pushing the boundaries and investing the time, tech, information to get better cameras and better DSLRs, and kind of saw where the market was going, and they capitalized on it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, as soon as the A7S came out, Nikon and Canon were behind by like years. And
like,
I think
what did they
still
do? They
think
were just
catching
like
up.
cooking in the behind the scenes, and they
Fucking
just
cooking in the kitchen, bro.
and dude,
Cooking in the technology kitchen.
I think
of
just
Sony.
the Alpha lineup is just so goated.
It is. It's
just
killer.
it's
People
beast.
might complain about like skin tones and shit like that, but like the amount of tech and autofocus and features that
The
are in
amount of
and
shit
the
I could
price
do with
point.
this, yeah.
That used $1,000, incredible.
Do like
Even
an
an FX3 or A7S3, you spend $3,500. Yeah, it's a good chunk of change, but like the amount of stuff that you get with this, mind blowing.
Yeah, like bro. I mean, I could still use this for another year.
At
and
least.
still get, competitive footage. I guess you could say.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, fucking photos are great.
Yep.
Videos good.
Yep.
Not great. Good.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
Good.
agree. Good.
Good.
All right, we have the last segment here before the concluding. So we made it far. I'm really glad whoever's listening and didn't skip forward to just the discount
water
code
left.
part.
I'll survive. I'll survive.
Come here.
No, it's all
Come
right.
here.
It's all right. No, it's all
I
right.
got you, brother.
Thanks, bro. Wow. Dude, that was a lot.
The guy's like, I need water too.
Water would be nice.
All right. I think probably one of the most hard, I guess, aspects of video, business, running a business, doing all this is the clients.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make sure that, okay, let's put it this way. Is it better?
What the
Bro,
Who's texting you over there, dude?
No, because
Bitches,
I put it.
bitches
No,
be
it's my
texting you.
boy.
Oh.
I don't get bitches texting.
I don't get bitches like that.
Is it better to give the client more or less?
It's a fine line. You got to be careful because the clients that you end up giving more to time and again, a lot of times, more often than not, take advantage of that, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So you have to know who your client is really
Yeah.
to kind of gauge where you're at, because every client is obviously different.
Yeah.
I go with the mindset is that I will always give them a little bit more, but I also sometimes tend to undersell, over deliver, even though I'm giving them more, if that makes sense. Though, so they're at least surprised with the content that they get. Like, oh, I thought we were gonna do this, but we got this. But you still like push the line and give them a little bit more, because you know a lot of times it goes a long way, and they respect that, and you know you can get more work out of it.
It's good to tease them like that. It's good because then you could be like, oh, if we pay like for this now, we can get probably this, like even more, you know. Like you were telling me that about a specific client, I won't name them, but like it was like something about like, you know, getting rollers of the trucks or whatever.
Getting rollers of the trucks. Yeah,
Yeah, like
but
not
again,
including that in the rate, doing that as a separate rate.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
because again, like it really, you have to evaluate each client differently, which is part of the business, because you know if you overperform for certain clients, like you know they'll go the extra mile for you and you'll get more work out of them, and they'll, you know, respect that and give you other stuff. Whereas others, like, they'll take advantage of you. Really, more often than not, the clients who pay the least amount will take advantage of you more. I've seen that
I gotcha.
100% of the
Yeah,
time.
I agree with that. That's a good take.
Wholeheartedly.
I agree with that. Like even like car clients,
Mhm.
like people that
sure.
will pay more will be less greedy, nitpicky about stuff, and it's weird because
Yeah.
like you're paying more.
Well, a lot of times the higher paying clients, like, they'll be nitpicky in the sense that like they want to get what they need to get, and they're very strict about it, which is totally understandable and fine. But they don't really take advantage of you like the other clients will.
Agreed. Agreed. What is like let's say I'm a client, I hit you up,
Mhm.
I need something done, right?
Mhm.
What's like the walk me through the process of like, you know, budgeting out something with a client.
Well, first is, you know, whether email or phone call, and the assessment of like what they need and what their expectations are, and like what we can give them with budget A, B, and budget C, and what they can expect. Because I think what ends up happening is that clients will come to a production house and they don't really know what to expect, right? They have no expectations more often than not. And the client gets the end product back and they're just like not happy with it, or just something goes wrong because you, the owner of the production company, didn't give them the expectation of what they can get with said budget. But you know, we'll go through a consultation, we'll go through what, you know, what they need done, and we'll create a pre-production like plan based off of what their expectations are, and see what we can give them within XYZ budgets. And then go through that with them and make sure at the end of it, like once everything is agreed upon, make sure that the vision is clearly aligned between both companies, and make sure that this is the vision that we're setting for this budget.
Gotcha. That's a very in-depth.
I try, man. It might
No,
not work every time, but I try.
I know you try, brother. When do you know like it's like appropriate to introduce your own creative spin on a project? Like when are you like, okay, like this client will be open to creative ideas, like, you know, let me get in there and like pitch something to them, like, oh, let's do this differently, like they do something but you're like, no, let's do it this way.
A lot of times you can figure that out even before you get on set, obviously, in like pre-production, talking with the client. Actually, just a lot of times you just have to be open and like honest with the client, and they'll respect that more. So if you tell them that like, hey, I have a lot of creative inputs, would you like this on set, and just clearing the air before you even get to set, that makes things way less awkward, right?
Yeah.
You obviously have to gauge, you know, who your client is on set and what, you know, their personality is. But a lot of times being bold works out in a lot of people's favors, because the worst case is if you use your creative input, the client there will just be like, nah, I don't want to do that. And like, that's it. They're not really going to like fire you over that unless you say some like fucking ridiculous shit.
Yeah, like let's take the clothes off there. Imagine
Yeah,
you're just,
exactly.
like,
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, more often than not, like, it's not going to be harmful, but you'll have a bigger reward by being bold than not, I think.
I agree with that, and I especially seen that like lately when I'm on shoot, I just like start to speak my mind more, like, and like I didn't before because I'd be scared of, you know, what were they gonna say, like, you know, I don't want to bother them, and like, you know, whatever, it might be a car or something, but like now I'm just like, yo, like let's flip this around. And they're like, okay, and they just do it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just a way better shot now. And I was just
Sure.
scared to speak up about it.
Well, that's the difference between owning like your own production business and then being on set, and like the union or movies are on Netflix, right, where they have a DP, a director, an assistant director, and there's an actual like pecking order. Because like, let's say you're just like the assistant that's like moving shit around. Like, unfortunately, a lot of times, like, you can't give your creative input because you're just in that role to be in that role, and that's it, you know? So that's why I like, you know, at least having the benefit of owning a company to be able to do the shit like that, you know?
Is that why you don't like Hollywood, really? Because I know you've spoken out. You're like, it's falling off, brother. It's like Hollywood's whack, you say. Like,
yeah,
what is whack about it?
I'm just not like, I don't like that lifestyle. A lot of Hollywood people and shit are fake.
Weird.
The hierarchy's like, I don't know, it's stupid, man. It's old school stuff. Not a huge fan of it. Not to say that there shouldn't be unions, but like the hierarchy of certain things is I don't know. I like being free to do my own thing and creating content that's actually going to be good and actually going to be useful, rather than all the shit that gets put out that's just trash just because lately
yeah.
client, oh yeah, this client has like a $500,000 budget. Let's just get all this gear just to look good, right? And we don't give them a good end product, right? I want to give them the best thing possible, you know?
Do you ever think like just like the prospect of like being on a set for like a big movie like entices you though? Like a good crafted movie, like I don't know, the Batman or something, like Oppenheimer. Isn't that just like a cool experience?
It depends what role that I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, on that set. Like if I'm DP or directing, hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm just like moving lights around, I mean, not really. I mean, we do that on like sets all the time. So like being on a big budget movie, it doesn't do it for me, at least.
But I feel like you got to do those things to get to the big role, right?
Depends. Like a lot of the streaming services and stuff, like you don't necessarily need like a union crew to do that kind of stuff. Whereas on movie sets, it's mainly union, you know, and you have to get into that union, and then you're in that hierarchy, you know.
Yeah, I could see how it could quickly get like, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys are like way overworked and fucking way underpaid too. That's why they went on strike a little while ago. And it's just been a shit show.
But then like you get the people at the top, like the directors making like fucking millions off their movie.
Yeah, but they're making millions, but like everyone else isn't really making as much as they should. You know, it's crazy.
No,
so I'd rather set my own rules and boundaries. Definitely.
Yeah, they're like paying an actor like $50 million to play a role in this, and you know other people getting like $16 an hour.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the guys who are lighting the set are working 120 hours a week, you know, and getting it's just not good.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It is. No, it really is.
Hardest part when dealing with clients, just in general, like hardest part, if you could put a finger on it.
Hardest.
Is it money? Like what is it?
Yeah, I find that it ends up being the budget more often than not. And then working with them on that budget, and then, you know, them always trying to ask for more when the budget's not there.
Will it be like this? Like, oh, you pitch a price, they can't cover it, and you're like, fuck. You're like, damn, I wish I got that price. Or like, how will it go usually? Like you'll call the shot?
In what the budget is?
Yeah, like, oh, like what's your rate for this? You throw a rate out there, and then like they'll be like, we can't cover that.
If they don't have a budget and they're just asking for like a quote, then yeah, I'll give them options of what we can put within this budget, and I'll lead that. And then if they end up accepting that budget, right, and then they start asking for more, like above that, within that budget, like we're not talking about like a little small thing here and there, it's not a big deal, but like something substantial, right? At first when I started, I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Now I just no, like that's not what we agreed upon. This is like, because I know that they're gonna do this and they're gonna keep taking advantage and they're gonna keep asking for more. I've experienced this more than enough times now that this happens all the time in that scenario.
With car clients though, like, cause you're kind of like the guy, like people like will book you just to book you, right? Mm. You can kind of call the shots with that, right? Like
yeah, definitely.
Like,
for sure.
Oh, what's SchwaaFilms' price? Like, I'm a cover because it's SchwaaFilms' price. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I run that. But, you know, like, I'm not like a dick, right? So, like, if they're like, hey, can I get like another 10, 15 second reel? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's not like a big deal, you know? Yeah. But, you know, I'll lean on my own judgment about like what's fair, what's not fair. But yeah, I call the shots definitely in that regard.
Bet, bro.
Bet.
What's the key to retaining clientele?
Truthfulness, open communication, not constant contact, but like maybe like a monthly or bi-monthly like check-in if you haven't heard from them. Sending them like general like ideas of what you think they need, right? Content wise, or just like general ideas that you have that would be beneficial for them, because sometimes they don't even know. They just, you just pitch something to them and like, oh, this is a great idea. So I think those are huge benefits.
Do you think that, like, when you reach out to clients for work, like, let's say you're asking to shoot someone, like, is it right to charge if you're the one reaching out to them?
If I'm the one reaching out to
Because
them,
you want to shoot their thing, and then you hit them with a price, like, is that unfair, or what do you think?
I want to say that like you should get paid. I mean, it depends on a lot of this shit depends, which is I know I keep saying it, but it's annoying. But like if you hit up like, I don't know, Shea Moisture, right? And you have this huge like proposal, like sick idea, right? And you're like, hey, I want to pitch this to you guys, but like we need this budget to do this. Like, what do you think? Then I think it's acceptable. Cars, for example, if you like reach out to a car owner and you want to do a feature of it, and you're like, hey, I want to shoot your car because I want to film this or for whatever,
Yeah, but
and
I
like,
want to charge.
yeah, but it's gonna cost like $2,000. I think that's unreasonable.
Gotcha. Have you like had that happen? Like,
no, because I go in with the expectation of like, hey, if I'm gonna shoot your car, or if I'm gonna go to the client and like I'm gonna pitch them this idea, really I'm pitching them that idea because A, I want to get them as a client, and B, I want to get their other people as a client, right? So I'll go with the ideas like, hey, I'll do this for at very minimal cost or free, just to get in with what I need for you guys. If that makes sense.
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Not saying to do that all the time, but
yeah.
especially if you're starting out too,
Yeah.
right?
Of
Like
course.
that's,
It's free marketing.
yeah, definitely. Like don't do stuff for free all the time, right? But like doing stuff for free isn't bad.
I did like the roller shoot before, like for free, with the Challenger, but it got so many eyes on it because I posted it, and like everyone's like, "Oh, I want that shit." you know?
Exactly.
So like it's literally free advertising.
Exactly. 100%.
From your perspective, how has clientele shifted in the past 4 years after the release of like Reels? Have you had more clients reaching out for like short form content ever since, or?
Yeah,
Just, like,
I mean,
depends.
a lot. Yeah, it depends, but I think there's definitely been a big shift to just doing social vertical
Like you'll
content.
have shoots just for like I
Just
hate
specific. Yeah, I hate it too. Just specifically for that. I hope it changes back the way it was.
I think they just have to
but-
relay out Instagram,
Yeah, if they relay out the social apps, it'll definitely help.
but it's the phone though. It's a
Yeah,
vertical phone.
I know, but it's also a horizontal phone. You just gotta turn it sideways.
I know, but
you know?
everything on Instagram you're going this way.
Yeah.
If you made everything on Instagram sideways, but I doubt they'd ever do that.
Yeah, I doubt it too. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of my clientele base switch to just that. But that's one thing of what we talked about way early on, is about being adaptable to certain situations.
Yeah.
Even though if you don't like it, it's something you gotta roll with the punches with.
Are there so where are the most of your clients coming from? Like email or
Word of mouth. 98% of word of mouth.
really?
Yeah. We've done Google AdWords, regular advertising. I've done cold calling. I've done walking into businesses. I've literally done it all. And the best thing has been word of mouth. And that's why maintaining a great business relationship with the current clients that you do have is very important.
You know, I hear
Bar
that, and
none.
I hear like there's like things on Instagram like, oh, relying on word of mouth your business will make it fail. But it's like for you, it's not.
No, not at all. It's what's keeping us thriving, actually.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that I find doing like Google AdWords and like random advertisements, we don't really get the clientele that we want. We get a lot of like lower budget or like one and
People
done
that are
clientele, or like
filmmaking.
stuff that's not even like fun to do.
Yeah.
So, that again also comes with like, going out and doing shit for free or pitching to clients that stuff that you want to do for them and getting them as a client.
What's the wrong way to price yourself out?
The wrong way to price yourself out.
Because there's a whole argument about hourly versus day rate.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see most success in, number one, the client accepting it, and number two, just like the overall payout for yourself?
The best success I've seen is actually having a budget, because what you end up, like a budget based on a per project basis, because what you end up doing is and we do both because it does depend on the client, but if you price yourself out as a day rate, right, and you tell your client that this is a day rate, right, and then let's say you get another project and you've been working with them for like 6 months, Let's say you get another project with them that like, you know, it's a huge project and there's like a $50,000 like budget that you want to do. You pitch that to them and they're like, well, this is what your day rate costs and this is what the day rate for all the other guys costs. How's this costing $50,000? And it gets like awkward. And there are ways around that to fix that. But I think what you end up doing is kind of like pigeonholing yourself into like this one rate, whereas everything's different. Like each project is a different project and you got to price accordingly. So day rates, like they work and like with certain clientele they work, but I think per project basis should be a budget. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. Are there like busier seasons of the year than others, seasons wise?
Generally, like spring, summer, and fall are the busiest. Summer is really the busiest. And winter generally tends to be dead, but like the past 2 years, it's been pretty like steady.
Yeah.
Winter's definitely been the slowest, but it's been steady.
I think it's just everything, right? Business in general, like the end of year.
Yep.
You know, holidays and shit.
Yeah, and towards the end of the year, it's interesting. Either businesses, depending on how they're doing, will spend more money, right?
Yeah.
Lower taxes.
Also, like they want to
Or-
make expenses towards the end of the year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or they'll hold on to it because they're not doing well and they don't know what to expect in a few months. So it's, you know,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Cool, man. So we're moving into the concluding segment
Oh shit.
of the podcast. We've been here, what? I'd say like 3 hours, right?
Yeah, something like that.
3 hours worth of absolutely
Valuable
information.
content, information.
Fuck that one up.
Fuck.
Biggest criticism of your work that's helped you out the most.
Biggest.
Bittiest ditty.
What?
Biggest criticism of your work that's helped you out the most, and who gave it to you?
Fucking YouTube commenters, dude. The YouTube commenters. Because on a lot of the videos, like, there were times where, like, you know, they'll tell me the audio of a car is not really matched up the way it should be, or the music's too loud and it's overpowering, or, like, actually some people have said, like, this is cool, but, like, I wish there were more angles. So, like, honestly, the general public has helped me out quite a bit, which I didn't even think about until you just said that. I would have said maybe, like, someone like Nick or just someone
Like
outside,
an expert.
yeah, an expert. But, yeah, it's honestly been the public
Wow.
critiquing, even though I haven't asked for the critique, right? And some of them are just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been that. It's
That's cool.
interesting now that I think about it.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, people are always going to comment stuff they don't like rather than, like, they have, like, a neat
Yeah, which
urge
is-
to comment.
It's
you
a
know?
good thing.
No,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Biggest mistake you've made in videography?
Ooh, biggest mistake I made in videography. Not tying this tight enough.
Just take that bitch off.
Take-
Fuck it. Man, fuck it.
Oh,
Whoa,
wait,
the
the
tube.
Nanlite
lighting,
tube. Do
now
we
it
need
looks
another
different.
one?
It's gonna look different.
Biggest mistake I made in videography. Does not getting into it sooner count? Or no?
No.
And by that I mean, like, not me going to college instead of diving into this.
No.
No, it doesn't
It's
count.
gotta be when you're in it. What is
Okay.
the biggest mistake?
The biggest mistake is lowballing my value to clients earlier on, for sure. Because, I mean, in a way, it was a lot of learning experiences because, you know, I've gotten taken advantage by clients, as like many people do, and, you know, thinking that my value isn't worthwhile to people or like myself or whatever. And, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of grow through it and learn as you go. But that's definitely, I would say, probably my top thing for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
You got to know your
far
worth.
too much. Yeah, and then
know
once
your
you
worth.
start, honestly, I saw more success in it.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
people actually will pay for it. I'm like,
Well,
fuck, man.
people also, they see when you're confident and when you're not confident. When you're going up to a client, you're like, "Duh, I think it'll cost this much," but you know, people understand confidence and they feel it. They feel the energy, and when you are confident, it generally tends to
Some
be better.
people feel good in paying a lot though for video work too. Because they just like.
Well, it's the same thing as like buying like an Apple product, right? You're paying like top tier, like $6 grand for a laptop. Like that laptop's great, right? So
Yeah.
if you pay for more, like you'll get it. It's obviously not always the case, but like people feel confident definitely when they pay more. Sure.
Yeah. Where do you see Blacksail going in the next 5 years?
fucking multiplying the ships, bro. Multiplying
We're
the
getting
ships.
a fleet.
And the fleet is just
Yeah.
expanding.
Yeah.
See a few more employees. I see a bigger space in our future, bigger budget stuff, and just having fun doing it, because that's the most important thing to me, having the whole crew enjoy what we're doing. Making more social content.
Listen, man, I am well known around here as the social media guru.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing
Potentially
a lot
the
of work on
social media director here. Who knows? We'll find out. We'll see how this
Holy
podcast
shit.
goes.
Dude, this podcast is gonna break the. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I can't say that on my
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
bro.
I mean,
That's
maybe.
that's not very humble of me.
Maybe.
Maybe. What keeps you going? What allows Sam Schwartz to get out of bed? What is that
A
fire
lot of
inside?
Red Bull, dude. A lot of fucking caffeine.
What keeps you going, bro? What keeps Sam Schwartz pumping out
I mean,
videos?
honestly, the motivation to build the business and where I want it to be at, the space that I want to have, I want to win some, people think it's silly, but like I would love to win like a few awards, like the Motor Film Awards, like a couple other like prestigious festivals. I think that'd be awesome. Expanding the space to where it's like, almost like a playground of some sort. It's not just a cyclorama. We have other things in there that makes it like a whole like array of things to where we can have fun at. Like,
And you have,
I don't know if you know,
different scenery.
remember Fantasy Factory, like Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory? I don't know if bro, you've never seen it? Anyway, he's
Might
got
be
like,
too young.
yeah, Rob Dyrdek, obviously professional skateboarder, entrepreneur,
Oh,
whatever.
I've seen this before.
Right. I would love, like, maybe not on that scale, right? I mean, on that scale would be sick, but that's a huge ask, you know what I'm saying? But maybe on like a smaller scale.
And you can have like different studio like scenes that you
Yeah.
can do, like maybe like a forest
That'd
in
be-
there.
Film forest? Yeah, something like that.
And you can also rent out space like that too to like
Yeah.
other people who need it.
For
It's
sure.
just more money, you know.
Definitely.
Like Jacob Owens.
Yep.
He does that.
I think
Phenomenal.
there's a market for that here, and I would like to do that.
Yes. I mean, New York definitely is very strict with like where you can shoot, where you can't. So
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
having a space with a rate, fucking
I think it's
banging.
beneficial.
If you had one piece to tell someone who wants to be in your level as advice, like, what would it be? Wants to get to your level.
Never give up, bro. Chase your fucking dreams.
Man, I'm throwing this one off too.
What would be one piece of advice I'd give someone to get to my level? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
To get to my level. My level's not
Nobody
that
can
high,
get to my
bro.
level.
My level ain't that high.
Well, you know.
I mean, realistically, I think what people end up doing is that they give up too early, for sure. They like hit a wall, whether it's creatively they hit a wall, they're not getting the clientele that they want, not making the money that they want to get. And in hindsight, probably what they've done is really not for that long of a time, right?
Yeah.
They might have done it for 2 years, 4 years. Some production companies have been in business 40, 50, 60 years, and they don't start to make it big until like their 8th, 9th, or 10th year. So honestly, yeah, being consistent, thorough with a hard work ethic will get you places. You just have to be patient, for sure. It might be cliche, but it is true.
And have a good eye.
And have a good eye, for
Yeah.
sure. And not undervaluing yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even like where the company's at now, it's not where I want to be at, but I'm confident in the work
Yeah.
ethics there that we'll get to the point where we want to be at. So, yeah.
Where can we find you on socials?
At SchwaaFilms, SchwaaFilms, at Blacksail Productions, not SALE, like sale. We're not on sale here. SAIL, like
We
we're
ain't
sailing
never on
away.
sale.
Never on sale. Never on sale. No discounts except for Movmax codes, 15% off.
Yep.
And yeah, YouTube is at SchwaaFilms also.
You got any passion projects coming up that you're excited about?
What we recorded right here, bro. What we
I
recorded
appreciate
right
that,
here, bro.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's my project, but I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Passion projects coming up. We're in the middle of working on a few different like scripts and storyboards for stuff that we want to submit to the Motor Film Awards specifically for filming at the end of this year and early into next year. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Shit.
Yeah. Actual like real deal stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You gotta tell me about it, bro. Off camera.
Off camera.
Tell me about it, bro.
I got you. I got some shit. Bro,
Appreciate you, bro.
this was
was
awesome.
a great podcast.
Thanks for having me.
If you guys want to watch the other episodes on my YouTube as well, and if you're listening, it's also episode 1's on Spotify. We got a crazy lineup coming up. It went from photographer, now we got videographer. We got everything coming up ahead, and it's all value-oriented, all really good stuff. So stick with the Film Forest. You're going to get a bunch of advice, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks. I don't know how to end it.
Peace.
Peace, my brother.
Peace, yo.
Should we just walk out?
Yeah, right.
All right. Oh,
whoa,
shit.
whoa.
Shit, shit.
Whoa.
All right, wait, let me get a picture.
Damn, bro, that was 4 hours.
Really?
It's 4:30.